on Comcast Sportsnet from Osceola County Stadium in Kissimmee, Florida. It's spring training baseball. Today, the Houston Astros take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Good afternoon on a sunny day. Bill Brown, Steve Sparks filling in for the injured Alan Ashby, who unfortunately has 2 broken ribs from a fall here in spring training. But the Astros ball club has stayed pretty healthy this spring, Steve.
They have. There's only been a couple injuries, and most notably Hector Ambrose and Max Stassi. Those guys are getting back on the field now, so these guys are playing really well.
And today, we'll take a look at Jason Castro, who's one of those productive catchers. Also, Carlos Corporon has played well.
You know what? These 2 catchers have done a great job, and Carlos Corporon did when he filled in for Castro last year, but offensively, he's really coming into his own. Right side and left side of the plate as a switch hitter. He's really pulling on baseballs this spring training, doing a nice job getting some big hits. Jason Castro looks stronger and better than he has in the last couple of years. You see him turn on a baseball right there. John Maley thinks that this guy's in for a big season.
Castro will be catching Brad Peacock today, another of those contenders to make the starting rotation this year.
You know what? The first week of spring training, before they even started the games, Brad Peacock was the guy that really opened the eyes of the Astros pitching coach, Doug Brocale. He's got great stuff. He can throw a fastball upwards of 97 miles per hour. He can elevate in the strike zone as he strikes out Ryan Howard there. And he's also got a knuckle curve that really breaks sharp and late, makes hitters look silly. So this guy's put himself in the running for the 5th spot in the rotation for Bo Porter's team.
Coming up from Central Florida on a sunny day, it's Houston and Pittsburgh, and it's coming your way next. Speak louder than words. And for Bo Porter and the Houston Astros, it's the bats. The arms. The gloves. And the effort that resonate the loudest. Plenty of spots on the final roster and the opening day lineup card are available, and it's time to speak up. What a nice day here, and it's getting warmer. Should be several degrees warmer tomorrow, and then even warmer still on Sunday. It's Pittsburgh and Houston here at Osceola County Stadium, and we're back on the air, by the way. Our next telecast will be Sunday, 11:30 for the pregame show. Craig Biggio is in camp. He'll be going back after the Sunday encounter. That will be with the Toronto Blue Jays here. And Bidge working as his second stint of the spring is about to come to a close. He's presenting the Astros card there for a club which has this spring won 8 and lost 11. And the Astros have had a lot of good hitting along the way, Sparky.
And Craig Biggio is very comfortable in that setting, seeing him do that for St. Thomas the last few years as his sons have gone through high school in Houston. And who knows, his youngest son is a senior this year in high school. Who knows what he's going to do going forward. Brownie is The Astros take the field here for a beautiful day of baseball here. Osceola County Stadium, just a great time of year to come out and watch your team and have great access to some of your favorite players.
Starting lineup for the visiting Pittsburgh Pirates, brought to you by AT HOU. And Cliff Hurdle's club has made the trip up from Bradenton to go with Starling Marte in left field, Alex Presley in center field, Russell Martin is the catcher. It's Pedro Alvarez at third base. The first baseman is Garrett Jones with Travis Snyder in right field, Ivan De Jesus Jr. at second base, Jordy Mercer the shortstop, and Michael McHenry is the designated hitter. On the mound, it's Brad Peacock.
Well, get ready. Sit back in your seat and watch some electric stuff right here. Brad Peacock got in to a little bit of a slow start this spring training. His first outing was a little rough, but that last outing, those 3 innings pitched, Brownie, against the Philadelphia Phillies, was very dominating, indicative of the kind of stuff he has. He can get a fastball up to the 97-mile-per-hour range. He's got a knuckle curve, a slider, a cutter that he neutralizes left-handed hitters, and he's got a changeup as he begins to throw right there. But number one, it's that elevated fastball. If he can throw it up above the letters and get guys to chase with 2 strikes, this guy can be nasty.
For the Astros, behind him, Justin Maxwell is the center fielder. And we'll take a look at the other outfielders. It's Brandon Barnes in left, J.D. Martinez in right. Around the infield, Brandon Laird, Tyler Green, Jose Altuve, Nate Fryman, Castro the catcher, Peacock on the mound. And Castro has had just an outstanding spring. As you indicated earlier, he's hit .500. He has 3 homers, 8 runs batted in. His knee after surgery a couple of years ago, feeling very, very good. He's moving better, blocking balls. He appears to be the whole package for the Astros this year, Sparky.
Yeah, more healthy than he's been in the last 2 years, and I think you'll see a different guy this entire season.
Now as the Pirates get it started, it's Marte leading it off for them. Pirates have won 9 and lost 10. The Astros 7-10 with 2 ties. Marte has hit .407 with no runs batted in, and really came to the big leagues last year and established himself. He's 24 years old. He had only 167 at bats, but he has good speed. He can cover that vast left field area at PNC Park, and teamed with Andrew McCutcheon in center field. That is a very good combo of guys who can cover tons of ground, Sparky.
They've got a couple of guys in the minor leagues that are really going to round out that outfield position. In a big ballpark, PNC, I mean, you're going to have to cover a lot of ground, and Marte is certainly a guy they can pencil in for a long time.
Marte had 5 homers and 167 at bats last year. Peacock missing there, and it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Peacock, as you indicated, trying to build on that last outing with the 3 scoreless innings, and there are some spots up for grabs in the Astros rotation. He's going to try to grab one of them. Good pop on that one, Sparky, and it's 2-2.
Well, that's a fastball count right there, and this is a fastball hitter. That gives you some indication of the hop that he has on his fastball. He's got some movement, but it actually looks like it accelerates when it gets in that hitting zone, and that's what this guy relies on.
Brad's 25 years old from Palm Beach, Florida. His family's here today. And that's quite a family story. His dad has followed him around the country as he's been a minor leaguer, pulling a trailer behind to see those games. His dad, retired policeman, I believe, Sparky, and his mom was really the one who worked with coaching him in Little League. A very interesting story.
Yeah, she was a coach, threw him wiffle balls out in the backyard, and Dad was working a lot. And like you said, retired at 54 years of age as a police officer. He strikes out another spring training hitter on that high fastball.
The Peacock family has to be proud with this start.
Last couple outings, he's just been electric. You know, you just see a sense of confidence, and he took a little bit of hit on that confidence last year in AAA for the A's. He pitched in Sacramento, and for the first time struggled a little bit in professional baseball.
Now here's Alex Presley batting second today, hitting .276 for the spring. Presley moves back from that one. There's ball 1. Alex, 27 years old, from Monroe, Louisiana, with those numbers for spring training. Hit .237 in 346 at bats for the Buccos last year, and he might figure into a platoon arrangement with the Buccos this year. There's a strike to him. It's 1-1. Presley playing center field today. McCutcheon, of course, will be their everyday center fielder, and he is simply one of the best players in the game. Clint Hurdle knows all about him.
He likes the grittiness of this platoon guy. Alex Presley shows a lot of the traits that Robbie Grossman with the Astros shows. Won't wow you with a lot of skill sets and tools, but he's a guy that knows how to win, does the little things to beat the other team, and it's a guy that Clint Hurdle loves to have in his clubhouse.
Pirates won 79 and lost 83 last year. A.J. Burnett figures to be one of the mainstays of their starting rotation. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Some of the folks who have followed the Pirates for years think that Burnett could be a key to what they do this year. And you mentioned for the Astros that one of the guys they got in that Wandy Rodriguez deal was Robbie Grossman. Wandy has been a very steady left-hander who fits into that rotation for them as well. Inside for ball 3, and it's a full count for Peacock. Peacock, a 41st round draft choice by Washington in 06. And he reached the big leagues with the Nationals in 2011. He was 2-0 with a 0.75 ERA in just a dozen major league innings. But Bo Porter was a coach, and he certainly took note of what Peacock did. It's a little jam shot inside the right field line, and on the run, a good catch by Jose Altuve.
Altuve showing good range on that baseball. Got a good jump. He could tell that Presley got jammed on that good heater by Peacock that time. That over-the-shoulder catch that we seen Altuve make behind the first base bag, evident again once here in spring training. It's a tough sky out here today, Bill, and you'll see it a lot in spring training. You see balls get lost, but Altuve making a nice play.
Yes, he did. Now Russell Martin coming over from the Yankees as a free agent to become the Pittsburgh catcher this season at age 30. Former Dodger. And this one a little chopper. Peacock over to take the throw from Fryman, and he was able to get his right foot on the base for a 1-2-3 first inning for Brad Peacock. Astros up in just a moment. Now the Astros come your way on Comcast Sportsnet in Houston with this Houston Astros starting lineup presented by AT HOU. And it'll be leading off today the second baseman Jose Altuve. He has batted second most of the time this spring when he's been in there. Justin Maxwell's in center field. The DH is Chris Carter batting third. It's J.D. Martinez in right field. Brandon Laird at third base. Nate Fryman at first. Jason Castro the catcher. Brandon Barnes in left field. Tyler Green the shortstop batting ninth.
Doing the pitching today for Pittsburgh Pirates and Clint Hurdle's team is Jonathan Sanchez. You remember Sanchez with the San Francisco Giants. You may remember on July 10th of 09 where he no-hit the San Diego Padres, the first one in 33 years for the Giants at that time. Saw Matt Cain throw a perfect game against the Astros last year, but he will make almost $1.4 million if he makes this roster. So these guys have to make a decision on Jonathan Sanchez. Today is going to go a long way in determining whether or not they're going to keep him. He can request his release on March 24th if they don't add him to the 40-man. So big outing today for this lefty. He's got a sneaky fastball in the low 90s with good sink, hard late bite on a slider, and his change is also deceptive. But doesn't always throw a lot of strike. He has 8 walks in 5 1/3 innings, Bill, in spring training.
That certainly does not work in his favor as he tries to make this Pirate club, and you outline the circumstances involving him. Here's the club on the field with Jonathan Sanchez today for Clint Hurdle's Buccos. The Pirates have won 9 and lost 10 this spring. It's Marte, Presley, and Snyder in the outfield slots with Alvarez, Mercer, De Jesus, Jones on the infield along with Martin and Sanchez. Beautiful day here from Kissimmee. It's been kind of a cold spring, though, overall, hasn't it, Sparky?
It has. Every morning you wake up, it's near 35 to 45 every day, and it gradually warms up during the day, but the wind has typically been coming from the north, so it's been a little chilly. You see 69 degrees here with the north wind at 8 miles per hour. Still comfortable if you're playing.
Strike to Jose Altuve with a .314 spring average. 2 runs batted in. He has 4 doubles this spring. He lines this one out to right center field. Snyder over to play it on one big bounce and hold Altuve to a looping single. Good start for the Astros, and Altuve's aboard for Maxwell.
Bo Porter would love Altuve to hit in the 2-hole this year for the Astros, but he's just been wearing out that right center field. Watch him stay inside the baseball, and he does that in batting practice time after time after time. And you get here at 4:30, 5 o'clock before a 7 o'clock game, and that's exactly what you'll see from the 5'5" second baseman.
Leadoff man aboard for Bo Porter. Now it's Justin Maxwell. Justin said his young son was disappointed in him yesterday. There's ball 1. Justin with a .161 average, 1 homer, 3 runs batted in. His son made the trip to see the Astros play in Viera against the Washington Nationals. And on the ride back, his son said, "Daddy, you didn't let me in the clubhouse after the game." He said, "Son, we're on the road. I can't do it on the road."
Like snacks.
And the throw goes over. This is going to be one of the intriguing decisions for Bo Porter. Is Jose Altuve his leadoff man, as he was last year, or is it somebody else? As you've indicated, he loves the fact that Altuve hits the ball to the right of second base, and that would be a real asset if he hits second. But who is going to get on base in front of him? That's the real question.
And it started at the beginning of spring training with the idea of Tyler Green and Marwin Gonzalez at the top of the order, and Green has scuffled a little bit at the top of the order for the Astros in spring training, and albeit it is spring training, you still want to get a sense of how you want to start your baseball game, and number one, you want that first guy on.
J-Max looks at it. It's a strike. That makes it 1-2. Andy Fletcher's the home plate umpire today. Altuve, the runner at first, has a .340 on base average from last season. And that's considerably better than either Marwin Gonzalez or Tyler Green has had. That doesn't mean it can't improve quite a bit this year. And spring training is a time for experimentation. He went, according to Andy Fletcher, and that is a strikeout for out number 1. J-Max still standing there and disputing that call. Sounds as if the Astros personnel wanted Mr. Fletcher to look down to first to get some help from Larry Vanover, and he did not do that.
Take a look at this again, but you never see Justin Maxwell show up an umpire or anything, but good slider that time by Sanchez. Throws it to the back foot. I think I have to agree with Andy Fletcher. I think Maxwell got out there in front of the plate. My determination usually was based on if he made contact with the ball, would it have gone fair?
Okay. Now Chris Carter, the DH. That's such a difficult call.
Yep.
And especially when it's slowed down like that, Sparky.
Yeah, they always seem to go further when it slows down. It's tough to catch with the naked eye. I think every pitcher will tell you they thought everybody went.
Carter's hit 2 home runs this spring. He's driven in 6. He and the starting pitcher for the Astros today, Brad Peacock, part of that big Jed Lowry trade with the Oakland A's, also involving pitcher Fernando Rodriguez going to Oakland. And Carter has shown that power at times this spring after hitting 16 bombs last year in fewer than 220 at-bats.
Well, he's got a lot of potential, and he wears out left-handed pitchers. We'll see what he does to get today against a tough one in Sanchez.
No balls, 2 strikes. There could be a good deal of platooning this year for Bo Porter. Here's what he's getting in this power package. 16 homers, .514 slugging percentage last year.
His on-base percentage in the minor leagues has always been awesome. 6 seasons in the minors. His OPS was over 900, so he's put together great numbers in the minor leagues. He's ready for the big time.
He takes that one, and it's 1-2. There is a platoon possibility, of course, with Carter being a right-handed batter. He also plays first base. He can DH and play left field. There's another right-handed hitter waiting, J.D. Martinez, but you have Fernando Martinez, a left-handed hitting outfielder who could be in the mix. So there are those possibilities as of right now. This fly ball heads for right field, backing on it. Snyder hauls it in for out number 2, and roughly halfway through the games of this spring, so still plenty of time for that decision making. And Bo Porter addressed that today with the media before the game, Sparky. He said, you know, it's wrong to tell the players this is a competition for jobs, and then the media keeps asking every day, have you decided about this, decided about that? Say, yes, I've made my decision right here on March 15th.
You know, and there's so many things that can happen between now and then. Why would you tell one guy one thing when it may not be the case later on if somebody gets hurt? So why disappoint them early when you can give them confidence by making it a competition?
Snyder is measuring this one in right field off the bat of J.D. Martinez for out number 3. It's no runs, a hit, and a man left. No score after 1. No score. Let's take a look back at play from the first right after this. Astros, Dynamos, Rockets, and more. We have all your sports news covered. Check out Sportsnet Central 7 days a week at 6, 10, and midnight on Comcast Sportsnet. Your home of your home teams. Now back to that play from earlier, Sparky.
Last out of the first inning was Russell Martin. He hit a ground ball to the right side. And watch Brad Peacock. Watch his eyes. What you want to do as a pitcher is stare at the bag, but look at him, watch the play being made, then look at the runner back at the play. And that's why he barely was able to touch the back of first base there. You want to look at the bag as long as you can, and you can tell in your peripheral vision that the play is going to be made. Then you can glance and have your feet in order.
Pedro Alvarez cracks one foul. That caroms around in foul territory on strike 1 to Alvarez.
Alvarez has struggled a little bit this spring, and he is a streaky hitter, Bill. 2 for 25, no homers and 2 RBIs. Love to see this guy, if you're Clint Hurdle, get going.
He's a big part of their offense. He hit 30 homers last year. Drove in 85 runs.
That was that split changeup that Peacock features right there against left-handed hitters. That's a nice good action pitch going straight down.
It's a 2-ball, 1-strike count on Alvarez, who's 26 years old. He was born in the Dominican Republic, went to Vanderbilt University, and then he was the second player drafted in the 08 draft.
Vanderbilt's put out some first-rounders in the last few years.
Sure has.
David Price, I believe, went to Vanderbilt. Yeah. He's Tulane.
Pirates were 10th in runs scored last year in the National League. The Astros will go to Pittsburgh later this year. Pirates won 12 and lost 5 in head-to-head play last year against the Astros. But they finished below 500 again. There's a bouncer and bad hop over Fryman's glove into the right field corner. Alvarez hustling. Here's the throw from J.D. Martinez on the fly, but he gets a double. Fryman was sliding, and that play just inside the first base line. He might have been able to make it, but then it looked like the ball took a bad hop and came up over his glove.
Check out this swing. Breaking ball up in the zone a little bit for 2 strikes. Peacock going over to cover first base, and watch this second hop. See how high it went? He tried to olay that ball as it came up, and Fryman has done a great job at first base just staying in front of baseballs this spring, and couldn't do that. Couldn't corral that one.
Garrett Jones now has a runner at second after the leadoff double. Peacock missing there. Ball's behind. 1 ball, no strikes.
Here's something you'll see a lot during the spring training and during the season. The Astros have employed the big shift. Typically second baseman out in short right field. The shortstop will get on the right side of second base, and Astros have done this a lot to left-handed hitters.
This is a little bit different looking shift, Steve Sparks, because Altuve is way over toward the right field line.
Yeah, and that's the way they've been employing this all spring. And you check out Altuve. I mean, they calculate these shifts from where guys hit balls on the ground, because the Astros outfield is playing pretty much straight up. But when Garrett Jones typically hits a ground ball, it's to these pull sides or a weak line drive.
Strike there makes it 2-1. So that means Fryman can take everything just inside the first base line, and Altuve would be over to Fryman's right.
Yep, and anything to his right, Fryman's just going to let it go, because Altuve has all the range in the world playing that deeply.
Soft liner, and that's into left field, barely. Alvarez being waved home to score and make it Pirates 1, Astros nothing on the looping single by Jones. Barely got it over the infield for RBI number 2 of the spring for Garrett Jones.
Garrett Jones just off the DL with the oblique strain, and takes that changeup just off the end of the bat and corkscrewed it out into the outfield right there. No play to be made because the ball was hit so softly.
So he went the other way with the Astros playing him to pull, and now it's Snyder batting. Snyder with a .231 spring average has driven in a couple. He's from the Toronto Blue Jays. This one in the air, and Justin Maxwell moves over to his right. Snyder's retired for out number 1.
Another baseball hit off the end of the bat. Peacock getting a lot of movement on his pitches. Not only that straight change we talked about, but his fastball, when he throws that 2-seamer, tails away from lefties, and that's how he got Snyder.
Doug Brocail, the Astros pitching coach, watching Peacock work to Ivan DeJesus Jr. DeJesus, a .348 hitter, has a homer and 2 runs batted in.
Situation where you're looking for a double play. You're either going to try to jam this guy or throw a slider away, try to get him to roll over on this pitch. Had a big hole on the right side. The middle infielders are pinching the bag.
Strike 1 to DeJesus. His dad was a long-term major league shortstop for several clubs. Spent some productive years with the Chicago Cubs, among others.
Remember his double play pivot from shortstop, how he'd throw it from submarine to try to make sure the guys got down and slid and didn't come feet first into him.
Yeah, they remember him too.
Mission accomplished, though. He got guys sliding about halfway to second.
Absolutely. 1 ball, 1 strike. Lucas Harrell rejoins the rotation tomorrow night. The Astros will be playing Washington again at Vieira. And Steven Strasburg will dial it up for the Nats tomorrow night against Houston.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Lucas missed a start, but his groin is fine again, so he's back in the rotation and angling for that spot that he will hold down come opening day. Whether it be number 1 or number 2, no announcement has been made yet on the order of Lucas and Bud Norris.
Astros are taking a couple extra players on that trip as well from the minor league side, one of which, Jonathan Singleton, will start.
Yeah, and we understand Carlos Correa,
yep,
number 1 overall pick in the draft, will be in the lineup at shortstop tomorrow night.
Domingo Santana's making the trip, guy that's been wowing all the instructors over on the minor league side.
There's a shot through the right side that makes it into right field. De Jesus with a single. Jones to second base, 3rd hit of the inning, and it's Jordy Mercer coming up next.
Sometimes with 2 strikes, pitchers try to do a little bit too much with their breaking ball, and when Peacock tries to do a little bit too much with his breaking ball, it hangs up in the strike zone. You'll see De Jesus stay on top of that ball and rifle it into right field. Makes it pretty easy for him when that breaking ball's spinning up near their eyes.
2 men on for Mercer now. Mercer has hit .333 with a homer this spring. Jordy, a 3rd-round pick of the Buccos in 08 from Tologa, Oklahoma, and he went to Oklahoma State. Had 62 at-bats with the Buccos last year, hitting .210. That one off the mid of Castro. He keeps it close by, and it's ball 1.
Tologa, Oklahoma.
You heard of that one?
I think it's right near Bug Tussle.
Yeah, that must be a small town.
Yeah. No stoplights. Got a diner.
Well, you know all about Oklahoma, Sparky.
Yep. I grew up in Bug Tussle. Along with Jethro Bodine.
1 ball, 1 strike. Well, you've been here all spring. What have you thought so far watching this young Astros club under the new skipper, Bo Porter?
Everybody is bought into his enthusiasm, his optimism. It's infectious. He makes sure that they concentrate on details. It's just the little things. We saw him do it today, Bill, with the cutoffs and relays and doing things right.
We really did, and this is something that you've been watching throughout the spring. When outfielders are hit fungos, they come up firing to the bases.
Yeah. Bo Porter wants to make sure that these guys are throwing the baseball in toward the infield on a downhill plane so the trail runner can't take an extra base.
Those little things really become important over a 162-game regular season, don't
they? They really do, and you figure the Astros are going to play a lot of close games, much like they did last year. And when you lose a majority of those last season, like the Astros did, you figure if you clean up a lot of those little things and eliminate 1 or 2 runs here and there, you're liable to win a lot more games. And he's not buying into the noise. He wants all of his guys to just go out there and compete each day with the intention of winning.
That's in for a strike. That makes it a full count on Mercer with McHenry, the DH, on deck. The Astros were 17-27 in 1-run games last year. They allowed 794 runs. Their ERA 25th out of 30 teams in the major leagues. So if they can tweak some of those defensive plays, that could help the pitching staff quite a bit.
It's actually exactly what the Baltimore Orioles did.
Yeah. Fly ball back, and Maxwell is there for the catch. And what an improvement they made last year.
Yeah, you talk about 1-run games, extra inning games. That was the area in which they excelled, and they got to the playoffs. You know, nobody picked them to finish higher than 4th last year, and as well as the Oakland A's. And Bo Porter mentioned that earlier today. He said, where did everybody have the Oakland A's last year? Why can't we surpass expectations?
Yeah, he was kidding with one of the writers about predictions. Michael McHenry's hitting .333. Michael, 28 years old. He drove in 39 last year for Pittsburgh and 240 at-bats. He said, hey, I'm not blaming you, because the writer said he had predicted the Astros would finish last. He said, I'm not going to get on you for that, because I know what you're looking at to make that prediction. You're looking at statistics from last year, and prior to that, you're looking at other teams' statistics. He said, but nobody knows what's inside a player, what really makes him tick. And so nobody can really accurately predict exactly what's going to happen.
Bo's always talked about putting his players in positions to succeed and try to match them up with certain guys where his guys can excel. And he watched every single game of the Astros season on tape last year. He had to pause it a few times and look back over some things and came up with the conclusion that he feels like he can get the most out of some of these guys and push them into having the better years and a better career than they even imagined.
Well, the fact that he did watch all those games would lead him to certain conclusions of things that needed to be stressed here in spring training, and one of those was the drill you were talking about before with the outfielders throwing.
Yeah.
If that's a pattern that he detected throughout the season, then it needed to be addressed, and it is being addressed.
Yeah. Fundamentals play such a huge role, and especially when you have young players. See J.D. Martinez and Brandon Barnes and Justin Maxwell out in the outfield. These guys are going to throw to the right base. They're talking to each other all the time, but when you keep it low and it's able to be cut off, then you can redirect the throws and make sure that all the runners can't advance extra bases. You save a lot of runs during the course of a season.
Big swing there, but McHenry swings underneath it. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. You know, it's a really valid point you're making, Sparky, because third base coaches take particular note of outfielders throwing. They have to. That's their job. But when they see that ball leave an outfielder's hand and it heads up and it's a looping type throw, they're just going to be windmilling people.
You just automatically go. It's easy. It's the same thing when a pitcher's pitching and a hitter sees it go up from a guy's hand. He knows it's off speed. Little clues like that.
Foul back by McHenry. So by addressing these things, and this is what every team does in spring training, but by stressing things of that nature, what Bo's trying to do is help the entire team defensively, help the pitching staff, make sure more plays are made, make sure liberties are not taken by the other teams on the bases.
Absolutely. And that's in a double cut situation too, so the lead guy on the double cut knows if it's going to be high or if it's low, so you avoid a bobble, you let it go, and that trailing guy catches that ball cleanly, and they're going to be able to get guys trying to score at home, or they're going to be able to get a guy trying to take that extra base at second base, and it's what it takes. You see Eduardo Perez back there. He was leading a lot of those drills today, and Eduardo has done a great job with these guys, talking about the outfielders and making sure that they're positioned correctly.
We're going to be joined, I believe, next inning by Dave Tremblay, the Astros third base coach, so we can chat with him about that and exactly what a third base coach does look for and the tendencies that he takes note of from opposing outfielders. What goes into all the various decisions that he makes.
Yeah, I'd love to sit down with Dave, and I know Bo has a lot of trust in Dave Tremblay to be his bench coach. He was his former coach when he was in the minor leagues, and it's a big position to fill.
Popped up, and Altuve with that bright sky up there shades his eyes and takes it for round number 3. It's 1 run on 3 hits. Couple of men left. Pirates 1, Astros nothing. Nothing. We go to the bottom of the second here at Osceola County Stadium in Kissimmee. The Astros home for spring training since the mid-'80s. Well, this time around, the Astros lead all Grapefruit League teams here in Florida in homers, doubles, on-base percentage, and slugging. So they've had their share of offense.
Yeah.
And a 278 team batting average for what you will make of that in spring training.
Well, second in all of the major leagues in home runs. Seattle Mariners, the only team that have more than the Astros, and they're over in Arizona. Certainly see a lot of them this season, but Astros have really come on, especially of late. They had 5 home runs a few days ago in that game against the Marlins, but swinging the bat well. John Maley, the hitting coach, is making sure that these guys get pitches that they can drive, and they're doing a good job. They're seeing a lot. They're actually taking more walks than we've seen the Astros the last few years. So selectively aggressive has been the mantra early on in the Astros offensive camp.
Brandon Laird takes strike one as he leads it off here in the Astros second inning. He has 3 homers and 8 runs batted in with a gaudy .393 batting average. He has hit the ball with authority. And he checks his swing there for a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Brandon playing third base today. Matt Dominguez will be the Astros' everyday third baseman. Last year, 15 homers at AAA for Brandon in the Yankees system before the Astros picked him up. 1-ball, 1-strike, but with his hitting and also a good candidate, Sparky, to come off the bench and help this club, he's making a strong effort to be on the opening day Astros club.
I think so. I think the ability to play third base, like you said, first base, and probably either corner outfield position, especially left field, certainly bodes well. But I think Bo Porter said it pretty well. He's a guy who has a simple swing. There's not a lot of moving parts, so guys like that can typically have success coming off the bench.
He hits this one to right field, backing up Snyder a few steps. And 1 out for Jonathan Sanchez.
That's the thing you like to see with Brandon Laird, is puts good wood on it. Doesn't get anything to show for it that time, but continually puts good wood on the baseball, and that'll set things up for the 6'6" Nate Fryman. If you haven't seen this guy yet, this guy is a monster in the batter's box.
Quite a specimen. After a big year AA San Antonio, he's hitting .300 in the spring with 1 homer. And he hit that one yesterday to right field with the wind blowing out against the Washington Nationals. There's strike 1 on Fryman. Very impressive young player, trying to prove that he's a fit for opening day. It goes out to De Jesus. 2 outs. And as these next 2 weeks roll around for the players, Sparky, for the position guys, Nate Fryman and the others trying to make a big league club, the at-bats will get tougher. Starting pitchers will stay in the game longer. The relievers will be of a higher caliber.
That's exactly right. And you'll start really seeing things that actually do matter in the last 2 weeks of spring training. And to be quite frank, the first 2 weeks of spring training is just a little bit of an evaluation process. They throw out a lot of the stuff that they see, especially the numbers, small sample sizes. But take, for instance, that Brandon Laird at bat just now. He hit the ball right on the nose, exactly what you're looking for. Got nothing to show for it.
Sanchez pulls that one outside a little bit for a 1-ball, 1-strike count on Jason Castro, a .500 hitter. 3 homers, 8 runs batted in, has pounded the ball with authority this spring. Had a good test here, trying to hang in against a left-hander who can be difficult.
Tries to do something different against a lefty. I talked to John Maley, the hitting coach for the Astros, and when there's a good, tough lefty pitching, he tries to, on that leg kick with that right leg, that front leg, he tries to turn his hip a little bit so he stays in longer.
Well, that's quite a challenge, isn't it?
It is, you know, and every lefty, they'll take a lot of batting practice with the machine almost behind him a little bit, but see how he coils that right knee going back toward the catcher a little bit, allows him to hang back a little bit longer and gives himself a longer chance to keep that front shoulder closed and retain his power.
And there's a strikeout to end it in the second inning. A 1-2-3 frame for Jonathan Sanchez. Coming up next, the Astros third base coach Dave Tremblay joins us right after this. And Dave Tremblay joins the Astros this year as a third base coach and former minor league manager of Bo Porter. Great to have you in the organization this year, Dave. Formerly the manager of the Baltimore Orioles, a lot of baseball experience. And how's it looking from your perspective as the third base coach?
It's been a great camp. We've had tremendous cooperation from the players and the staff. Bo has set the standards, and we have expectations every day. We've done an awful lot of work on basic baseball fundamentals, and the guys have been very receptive. So we're headed in the right direction.
Hey, Dave. I know Bo brought you in here mostly because he trusts you and he trusts your knowledge. What have you told him? We talked about you being the manager with the Orioles, and when they were going through similar transitions, what have you told Bo about patience and how to deal with some of these young guys?
Well, Bo brings, the energy that you need every day. But what I've told him is just reassure some of the things that I know he knows are important. You got to be patient. You got to be persistent. And, you got to stick with it. We have a very good plan here. We have very good coaches that teach the game. And, you got to have good players. Ability will take care of an awful lot of things. But what we've told Bo is, just manage the game. We'll take care of all the other things for you. And he's going to be very successful.
Dave, you were telling me about the purpose behind the workout on the pregame period today, and it was interesting in that the players are going hard, and you're trying to get them, it would appear, to practice the way you want them to play.
All the drills that we do and all the fundamentals that we do, we like to do them at game speed. We try to simulate as best we possibly can the speed of the game and what it's going to be like, especially from the 7th inning on. And our guys' tempo and energy level, I think, shows that. We had a real good workout this morning working on cuts and relays, the outfielders throwing. Took a full infield as many times as we can handle the ball every day and do those things that are going to help us win. There's 27 outs. We don't want to give any more than that. And repetition is the name of the game in spring training, and doing it right and getting cooperation from our players. And that's what it's been.
There's a foul ball by Marte, a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Dave, as a third base coach, you are constantly checking other clubs to see how outfielders throw, how cleanly they field balls. That is a real study for you, isn't it?
Well, there's some checkpoints, and, I think there's some things that you'll look for that guys will give you keys. We're going to be a very aggressive club looking to go home to second, first to third, and second to home. And so there's some keys that we're trying to look for from the other team and some things that we're trying to avoid in the outfield. I think one of them is come and get the ball as hard as you possibly can, get rid of the ball quickly and keep it low and hit the cutoff man. That'll shut down a lot of people taking the extra base. But we're working on it every day, and we're compiling our scouting reports. We got a real good video system here where we can look at all the guys that we're going to see in our division, and we'll be prepared.
Hey, Dave, last one for me. I just wanted to ask you, do you guys plan to do a lot of these fundamental drills during the season with this team? I always wondered why, as a player, we just did them in spring training, and then you have something occur during the season, whether it be a bunt play or whatever, and you've kind of forgotten it or you've gotten out of repetition of practice of it.
Well, Steve, I think the key to success is preparation. I think it's too late when the horse is out of the barn. You can't wait until you mess it up and then bring him out the next day. You have to have a definite plan and a routine that you're going to go through, and I know we're going to do that during the season, especially at home. We've got an awful lot of young players that are learning how to play at the major league level, and it's key for us to keep brushing up on those skills so that when we get in those situations, they're ready.
Well, with this coaching staff, such an experienced group, it's going to be fun to see how things progress. There's a fly ball to right center field. Maxwell over for that one for out number 2. Now, when you put guys together, as the Astros have done with Bo Porter, and, of course, Dave Clark returns, and you have people who have been here for a while, but then the new mix involving yourself and Eduardo Perez, you've got Dennis Martinez. It's a different group. Guys in baseball are used to moving on and teaming up with different people, though, like that, aren't they, Dave?
Yeah, I think, you alluded to it earlier. You have to trust one another. I think you have to rely on one another. There has to be an open line of communication. You have to go by what you see. Those of us that are coming in here new, this is kind of like watching color TV for the first time. The things stand out for us, and we're committed to just some basic fundamental approaches day in and day out. We've got a great staff here, a lot of experience. One thing about Bo wants our opinion. there's no right or wrong, but we're all on the same page when we go out on the field.
You know, Bo is such a motivational guy. It's just a lot of fun to be around him. You leave from a conversation with him feeling like your spirits have been lifted a little bit. You're kind of that same way. You're an optimist, aren't you, Dave?
Well, it all starts with attitude. Attitude controls an awful lot of things that are going to take place in this game. You know, ability and responsibility and respect for the game. But you have to have a positive attitude all the time. Lord knows this is a real tough game. When you make mistakes, it's pretty obvious. But, you know, Bo and myself, we've always tried to set the standard and have expectations and look at what people can do right and encourage guys to keep going in that direction. It's easy, you know, to say when somebody does something wrong and harp on that. I think you got to come out every night. Today's a new day. Be prepared. Let's play all 27 outs and let's give it the best shot we can. We're going to play hard. We're not saying we're going to be perfect, but I know we're going to learn and we're going to continue to get better.
Dave, are you going to be an aggressive third base coach, you think, in the back of your mind? Are you looking for opportunities to try to send these guys every chance you get?
Well, we think we've set that tone early in camp.
Yeah.
I've told the guys, don't look for me to send you. You know, we're going to look to go. We're going to take advantage on balls in the dirt. We're going to look to take the extra base, and we're going to find out what people can do. And we're going to play solid fundamental baseball. We don't want to give outs away, but on the other hand, we're not going to lay back and wait.
Thanks so much, Dave Tremblay, for joining us.
I appreciate you guys having me. It's fun.
1-0 Pirates. Training action on Sunday. This one is going the Pirates' way, 1-0 in the third. Well, Sunday, it's the Astros taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. Coverage begins Sunday at 11:30 on Comcast Sportsnet, your home of your home teams. Gorgeous day for baseball. It's warmed up quite a bit along the way this afternoon. Nice breeze blowing here at Osceola County Stadium in Kissimmee, Florida. Bill Brown and Steve Sparks with you on a nice day for baseball. And as you watch the Astros play the Pirates today, you see a little preview of an interleague series that'll take place in Pittsburgh. The Astros will be playing all their former rivals from the NL Central and interleague play this year, in addition to the Colorado Rockies.
That'll make that transition a little easier for Astro fans who enjoyed a lot of those rivalries while these other ones pick up.
It sure will. And of course, the games that count all begin on Sunday, March 31st, with the Texas Rangers coming into Minute Maid Park. And Bo Porter was asked by some of the writers here, and one of them was from the Metroplex area, about whether he thinks there will be a rivalry between the Astros and Rangers. And he said eventually there will. And, of course, a lot of us feel that'll take some time to develop. But what a great way to get it started on that Sunday night.
It's going to be exciting. You know, it's the only game being played that day, Bill, and it's an evening game, so all eyes in major leagues will be watching Minute Maid Park on that opening day. That's exciting.
It really is. Foul ball by Brandon Barnes, another impressive player in the outfield for the Astros this spring. He can play anywhere in the outfield. An acrobatic defensive player, and he's hit this spring. He's hit .409 with 3 homers, 4 runs batted in. I was asking Justin Maxwell which players have impressed him, and he said, well, Brandon Barnes will be one of them, even though we saw him last year. Brandon made quite an impact defensively on the major league scene when he came to the Astros last year.
And Bo Porter talks about he likes to score early and defend late, and what better guy to bring in late if he wants to bring in a great center fielder to play any of the outfield spots. Brandon comfortable in left, center, or right. Like you said, he's been one of those big surprises here in spring training offensively with 3 home runs here in the early going, and always seems to have a good at bats. Went down to winter ball this past winter and worked on some things, and it seems to have paid off.
Those are his numbers from 43 games last year. High chop up the middle. Not much time here. De Jesus with the throw, and he makes the play well. He could not afford a bobble if he wanted to get Barnes, and he just got him.
No, from the right side, you just don't get down the line much quicker than that. De Jesus Jr. had to wait on it because it was a high chopper. Watch out how quickly he gets it out of the glove. He gets all his weight on his right foot so he can plant, get rid of it. Pretty close over there at first base.
It sure was.
No argument from Brandon, though.
No. Tyler Green looks at it. It's strike 1 to Tyler. A slow start for him to the spring. A 107 average without an RBI. That's a little foul pop. Garrett Jones coming over, and that's out of play. For an 0-2 count on Tyler Green. He's done some leading off this spring, batting 9th in the order today. Native of Florida from Fort Lauderdale, and he went to Georgia Tech.
Jeff Luhnow obviously knew Tyler Green from his days in the Cardinals organization, liked what he could bring to the table offensively and defensively, and Tyler getting off to a little bit of a slow start. But against left-handed pitchers, Bill, I think this is a guy who can really cause a lot of damage.
Well, he's had 621 major league at-bats. And this could be the year that he puts it all together at age 29. He's certainly hoping so. He's a tools player, as the scouts say. There you go. Striking out for strikeout number 3, Jonathan Sanchez, who had rugged numbers with an ERA of 11.81 coming into this one, has been impressive so far.
He has, and he's always had that long, low arm angle on that fastball when it's up in the zone. You see it so long that it's really hard to lay off, especially with 2 strikes. And Sanchez never has been a guy that you had to question his stuff as just whether or not he could throw strikes.
Now Altuve puts one in the air. And here's Presley in center field. Back for out number 3. That's 9 straight retired by Sanchez after the Altuve leadoff single. 1-0 Pirates. Pirates lead at 1-0, and their run came in the second on a single by Garrett Jones off Brad Peacock, who other than that has thrown the ball well today, Sparky.
Really has 3 more impressive innings for Brad Peacock, and he can really throw that fastball up with his zone, and you see a lot of swing and misses on that mid-90s heater. He's got a lot of movement through there, and check out this breaking pitch right here. This is a hammer. Good knuckle curveball. Russell Martin swings through that pitch. Brad Peacock coming on now for the 4th inning of work after throwing 3 shutout innings against the Phillies in his last outing.
So as he stretches it out, getting ready for his first start of the regular season, no matter where that may be, Bull Porter was asked about that today. Somebody asked, does Brad Peacock have a chance to make your club? He said, of course. He's here and he's still in competition for a job. Of course he has a chance, but he also pointed out, and the Astros have cut some players earlier this week, Sparky, such as Jared Cosart, that he needs to keep these starting pitchers, whether they're going to be AAA or the major leagues, on that path to pitch more and more innings to get ready for wherever they're going to open the season. Ball one to Pedro Alvarez, who doubled and scored that Pirate run. So there just isn't room to stretch out 10 or 11 starting pitchers on the major league side right now.
The one underlying theme in that whole thing is that he wants 2 long relievers as well. So he wants both of those guys to be stretched out a little bit too. So they'll probably piggyback. See that fastball up in the zone from Peacock. He'll probably piggyback some of these guys, a 5-inning and a 4-inning stint from time to time. So Peacock, say if he ends up on the roster for the Astros as a long reliever, say, he will have thrown 4 or 5 innings on a couple of occasions. That way, if somebody gets knocked out early during the season, he can come in and pick up the slack and save the bullpen.
Phil Humber 3 days ago got a 5-inning save against the Marlins. And that was an example of stretching out a would-be starter in relief.
Yeah, and then that was to end the game, and still went over in the bullpen and threw more pitches on the side to stretch out further. That's how easy of a time as he got through 5 innings. Last 9 innings for Philip Humber, just 2 hits, Bill. Shutout baseball.
That's impressive stuff. And he is making a very strong bid to be one of those 5 opening day starting rotation guys. 2-2 to Alvarez. Wind blowing in a little bit from right. Now a full count with Jones on deck. Pirates are getting a pitcher loose in their bullpen. Genmar Gomez. The breeze blowing in today. Yesterday it was blowing out at Vieira, and it was really howling. That's a walk to Alvarez, and he's on for the 2nd time today. First walk of the day for Peacock. Starting rotation. Who might they be? Maybe Phil Humber. Could be Eric Bedard. Brad Peacock still in the mix. John Eli, Alex White. They're all in competition for some of those spots, Sparky.
Keep in mind, one of those guys will probably be at least one of those long relief pitchers. And Eli gave up a few runs yesterday, but had been showing on many occasions here in spring training a lively fastball. He did a great job in AAA last year. Peacock last year in AAA struggled for the first time in his professional career, is kind of trying to bounce back in this fresh start after the trade over from the A's and the Jed Lowry deal. Just what the doctor ordered.
With the runner at first, the shift takes on a different configuration now than with nobody on for Garrett Jones. He singled to left field earlier, and this one he drives to left field, backing up Barnes. Barnes at the warning track for that catch. So Jones thinking opposite field today, and it's out number 1.
Showing no ill effects of that strained oblique muscle. Garrett Jones playing for the first time in about 10 games, showing good power after singling his first time up in the 2nd inning.
Now it's Snyder coming up next. Snyder hit a fly ball to center in the 2nd inning. Takes it, and there's strike 1 right on the corner. Snyder, 25 years old, from Kirkland, Washington, was the first-round pick of the Blue Jays in 2006. Pirates got him in a trade right before the deadline at the end of July for Brad Lincoln last year.
Check out how low Snyder keeps his hands right here. That's when you know a guy's a fly ball hitter. It's hard to swing down through the baseball when you hold your hands that low, and Snyder likes to get some loft on those pitches. And if you're going to do it at PNC Park in Pittsburgh, it better be to right field, because hitting fly balls to left field is a death trap.
Not much future in that.
See him keeping him low. I think I'd throw him a high fastball, let him swing through it. Curveball.
Altuve bounces up to get the hop, and then on to first, not in time. Green flashing across the bag to take that throw from Altuve. He backed up a little bit to get that hop, and that's, of course, the natural thing to do, but it might have cost the Astros a double play.
You know, you come charge that baseball, and you get that in-between hop. Could cost yourself an error, and Fryman, see Fryman coming off the bag on this return throw, trying to sell that as an out. Umpire Larry Vanover says, come on back here, 6'6"er.
Now De Jesus. He singled to right field earlier. Snap throw to first by Castro. Drives the runner Snyder back. Ball one. Did you see the highlights of that Dominican win over the U.S.?
I did not. I was following it on the computer last night when the 8th and 9th inning were going on, and I knew Kimbrel came in the game for Joe Torre's squad, but didn't work out so well.
No, it did not. The Dominicans beat the U.S. 3-1 with a rousing victory. Hanley Ramirez hit a long homer. 2 balls, no strikes. The game in Miami hit that ball to a lengthy distance in left center field as the Dominicans were able to celebrate.
I heard it was the 4th longest home run ever at that ballpark. And the first 3 were from Giancarlo Stanton.
Okay, that would make some sense. 2 balls, no strikes. Dominicans really had fun celebrating that one. It's kind of different in international play. There are certain things allowed that would not stand in Major League Baseball, right?
No, really. I mean, you see it in winter ball. I've been to Venezuela, Dominican Republic, and Mexico, and guys don't care about showing the other team up at all. They will whoop and holler coming out of the dugout. They'll hit a home run, stand at the plate, and admire it. I mean, it's funny.
Yeah. A little running in the outfield. That's what you'll see for a spring training game. A balk is called.
Now they told him to step off. It's in play.
The fans were calling the balk. And there's the rundown. And that is the end of the 4th inning for Pittsburgh as the Astros get Snyder in that rundown and keep the score 1-0.
Lexus Command.
It's a 1-0 score here. The Pirates leading it. Bottom of the 4th inning coming up. And Jonathan Sanchez, who's doing a little running after that start, a very successful one, comes out of the game. 3 innings, just 1 hit, no runs allowed. And he struck out 3 without a walk today, Sparky.
Pretty clean slate for Sanchez. And now we'll see for Clint Hurdle, Jeanmar Gomez. And Gomez was coming over to the Pirates in a trade from Cleveland in January. And throws a good 2-seam fastball from 86 to 90, a 4-seamer that he can get up to 93, a slider with pretty decent depth, and changeup with split action. And I know one thing, he could definitely blow away Craig Biggio.
Marky, you know that, bro. Don't tell him my secrets now, bro. Come on now.
I didn't know you were on yet. I'm sorry.
Oh, come on now. I listen to you all the time. I don't miss now.
Thanks.
I'm intrigued by you.
Midge, is this your second spring training trip this year?
No, it's my first one.
First one?
Yeah,
Okay.
the first one. We got the high school years going on right now, and we've got about 16 games under our belt right now, and we got spring break right now, so it's this is my opportunity to get down here and see the boys, and I'll watch about 6 or 7 innings here, and then I got some work to do back on the other side when this is over.
What's the record so far at St. Thomas?
The boys are playing well right now. I mean, we're 13-3. I mean, I'm happy. District play starts up on Tuesday, and once again, I mean, it'll be interesting how that goes, and it's always a battle. But I'm proud of my guys. This is one of the for this year here. It's I've had a lot of great classes, but this is probably my best senior class. There's 14 of them, and they all get along, all play well, and they all pull for each other from the best player to the worst player. So it's been I'm spoiled with this class.
Who's the best player?
They're all great players.
A guy named Kevin Biggio qualify for that?
I don't know. He's got to earn that. He's not there yet. If he keeps working hard, though, he's got a chance at it.
All right. Maxwell puts it in the air to right. Snyder waiting for this one. It'll be out number 1. And Craig Biggio, when you come to spring training with the Astros, what are you focusing on? You said you're going over to minor league camp. What types of things are you doing?
Well, I'm just trying to focus on everything, really, just help out in any which way, whatever the minor league staff needs and their coaches, and whatever the big league coaches need in seeing these guys. I mean, I want to get my eyes on as many of the new guys that I haven't seen or had the opportunity to watch play. So you hear things, you've read reports and this and that, but I'm a guy that I trust my own eyes, and I want to see it past my own judgment, and then go from there. So I try to get as much of that done as I can, and then obviously just try to get to know the kid, the person a little bit. Obviously the skill level is one thing, but then again you start tapping into a little bit what the personalities are like, so that when you get out in the summertime you can see them, and you can have relate with some good conversations and things that they like.
Hey, Craig, I talked to Adam Everett and Morgan Ensberg about a week and a half ago, and they're raving about some of the pitchers and their arms. And he talked about Fultonevich and Asher Wojciechowski and Tropiano, and there's a ton of guys, McCullers. Who are you seeing, down there, infielders, outfielders? We keep hearing a lot about Domingo Santana. Who's caught your eye so far early on?
Well, there's a lot of them. The first guy you met, he just pitched the other day, and it was like man amongst boys right there. He's lived at 95, and he was 95 to 97 the other day. So, I mean, we're in a lot better situation we are right now than obviously we've been in the past, and which is exciting. I'm excited for the Astro fans because of that. And our organization has always been our lifeline and our pipeline to our success at the big league level. So, for all the success that we've had during those years, a good 10, 12-year run that we had, it was because our minor leagues was good. We were strong in the big leagues, but then we had the pieces in the minor leagues to be real well also. So it all works hand in hand. But there's a lot of guys that are down there that are really good players, and it's fun to go watch them play and compete and get after it. So like I said before, we're in a good situation, and it's fun to really go watch them just with their work ethic alone and getting after it. They understand this is probably the best organization in the world to be with right now because there's so many opportunities.
J.D. Martinez with a flare to shallow right field. Snyder coming in with a catch. Craig Biggio, thanks so much for joining us. Good to see you.
All right, Sparky. Yep, we'll see you guys soon.
Thank you.
All right.
1-0 Pittsburgh. 0-0, and this game has featured outstanding pitching. The Pirates have 3 hits. They all came in the second inning when Garrett Jones' RBI single moved Pedro Alvarez to home plate for the only run in this game. So good work for Jonathan Sanchez. 3 innings of 1-hit shutout ball. Didn't walk anybody. He struck out 3. Then Gomez took over, and now Brad Peacock stretches it out for the Astros, and again shows that this trade with the Oakland A's, giving up Jed Lowry and Fernando Rodriguez, sure, a couple of guys who really helped the Astros last year, but moving on into the future, acquiring a young arm like a Peacock and others in the deal, Chris Carter included, looks like a pretty good take for Houston so far, Sparky.
Yeah, it usually takes a while before you can determine whether or not a trade's going to work out well for you or not. But I think where the Astros stand right now, I think getting 3 guys with this much potential in Chris Carter and Brad Peacock and Max Stassi, a good prospect at the catching position where the Astros were a little weak, really presents itself with a good opportunity for this team to grow with these guys. Brad Peacock, I mean, he's got great stuff. You've seen it all day today. He can live with his fastball up in the zone, down in the zone, and he's got great secondary pitches. So very intriguing so far for the Astros.
He gets strike 1 on the foul ball by De Jesus, who was at the plate when Snyder was thrown out in that rundown. Lefty warming up in the bullpen for the Astros. Looks like Kevin Chapman. You know, you mentioned Stassi, and he could be actually the most important player in that deal. He's a 21-year-old catcher.
Yeah, and they love his offensive, potential. I mean, you don't get a lot of guys like that who can obviously throw very well, and catch very well, but he's a great offensive force. They think he could be a 20-25 homer guy in the big leagues by the time it's all said and done. So Astros have a lot to look forward to.
No balls, 2 strikes.
You see Fernando Rodriguez is going to have Tommy John surgery.
No.
Came out of a game last week and has a torn ligament in his elbow, and he's going to be out for the year.
Boy.
Doug Brocail, pitching coach for the Astros, has to be ecstatic with what he's seen from his pitcher. 67 pitches so far, 2 strikes. Here in the 5th inning, see Kevin Chapman warming up down in the bullpen for the Astros. Big lefty.
That's tap foul. Well, as Peacock looks very good today, and Lucas Harrell will return to the mound. Harrell will be a little bit behind the other guys who have been starting all spring because he missed a start, but he'll still have plenty of time to build up his endurance for his first start of the year.
Yeah, he had a tweak in the groin, so he had to get pushed back a little bit and thrown a couple of bullpen sessions since, and they said they'll play it by ear once he gets back out on the mound on how far he'll go. Check on him in between innings, and if he still feels good, they'll send him back out there.
Bedard should pitch in relief Sunday on our next televised game. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He had been out with an injury as well, a strained gluteus, and pitched an inning in relief the other day. So he's the one who would figure to be a pretty good bet if he can prove he's healthy to be in that starting rotation, who's pretty far behind the other guys in terms of pitch counts right now.
He is, but if you slate him back in the end of the rotation, oh my goodness, that's a good pitch.
Yeah.
2-2 fastball inside corner, just missed. Good run on that pitch. I checked down there on the radar gun a couple pitches ago and threw a good 2-seam fastball at 94 miles per hour, and that's Lucas Harrell territory on a 2-seamer. You don't see that very often. 6'1", right-handed pitcher Brad Peacock.
And he gets a foul tip on the strikeout. Strikeout number 3. Jordy Mercer's coming up next. Well, Bedard brings a left-handed arm that the Astros could have in the rotation, and that would be nice to have a lefty, but he's got to prove he's healthy first, of course.
3-2 pitch fastball. De Jesus looking for it, but can't catch up to it. It's got a lot of action right at the hitting zone.
Whoever is in the rotation at AAA Oklahoma City should be pretty good this year. Strike to Mercer, and the Astros feel that they're much better equipped to call on that AAA depth if they need to for a starter this year.
Yeah, some of those guys are starting to get up to the upper levels of the minor leagues now, so when you need help, you've got it. They've called upon a lot of kind of retread guys or 6-year free agent type minor league journeyman, and the last 2 or 3 years, and this year they're really going to be able to pull up some of their prospects and take a good look at them.
That's 2-1. Great story today in the Houston Chronicle by Jesus Ortiz about Brad Peacock and his family. And Mom used to have him run the bases in the living room when he was able to walk, right?
Yeah. You just got a great mental picture of little Brad Peacock running around the house in his diaper.
Well, his dad was more into football, so Mom was the Little League coach.
Yeah.
But she said, well, okay, if I'm going to coach this team, we're going to win.
Yeah.
And
sounded like she was pretty fiery.
Absolutely. It's worked out very well. Brad, 25 years old. He went to Palm Beach State College, Southern Florida. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes the count.
Brad was already on his way to spring training with the A's when he got the news of the trade and that Jed Lowry deal. He was all the way from east coast of Florida to Mobile, Alabama, before he got the news that he had to turn around and head back to Florida and wait for another week before he went to Astros camp.
They're pretty close from 3-2. Well, some of the writers who came in from Arizona today were saying they also have had a pretty cold spring compared to the average temperatures, but apparently it's up in the 90s now in Arizona. The oddity about this move the Astros are making to the AL West is that the other 4 teams in the division all train in Arizona, so they don't get a single game against any of them in spring training.
This has been great for his family. They've enjoyed this spring more than anybody.
It's a shot into left center field. Mercer on with a 1-out single.
Good piece of hitting that time by Mercer, and seen Peacock blow those fastballs up in the zone by these guys time after time. This time Mercer stays on top of this pitch, sends it right out to center field. Ball was knuckling on the way out there, and that's when you know a guy's centered it pretty well.
Mercer's aboard for the number 9 hitter, the DH, Michael McHenry. McHenry popped to second in the second inning.
McHenry figures to be the backup catcher for the Pirates this year, and backup Russell Martin, who's catching today. And Pirates can make a good case for winning 90 games this year, as we spoke to somebody in their front office, or lose 90 games.
Well, they were off to a nice first half last year, and then things caved in on them. They had some pitching injuries, things of that nature, but again, failed to come up with a plus 500 record for the first time since '92. It's been a long stretch for them, and yet there are some good signs from their farm system.
You talk about their farm system. Number 1 and number 2 prospects, according to Baseball America. Garrett Cole, who they think has a chance to be a Justin Verlander type, and Jamison Taillon from the Woodlands area. Great 1-2 possible combo at the top of their rotation for many years.
Strike there to McHenry. Yeah, Taillon had quite an outing in the World Baseball Classic. He looks like a guy with outstanding major league stuff. Clint Hurdle has been a major league manager for 10 years. Had a World Series team with the Rockies in '07 as the wild card club. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Well, we've gotten a chance through the years to see a lot of managers in the National League like Clint Hurdle. Now moving over to the American League side, Sparky, there's a whole new learning curve.
Yeah, got to learn the managers too.
You bet. What are their tendencies?
Yeah.
What do they like to do with a running game? You know, we know about Mike Scioscia.
They don't know Bo Porter either.
That's true.
And Bob Melvin was even speaking of that during spring training. And Houston's the only team not training in Arizona. And Bob Melvin's going to employ Phil Garner to make sure that he sees some of his hometown team. Garner, of course, lives in the Houston area, just to give him a heads up. They don't know anything about a lot of these guys.
And Bo was asked today in his media session about that move to the American League West. What does it mean for your team? Is it a tougher division than the one you're leaving? He said, well, you know, the way I look at it, you have to beat everybody if you're going to be a playoff team, so we're not going to make too much out of that. Throw by Castro to second, and the tag by Altuve. Great job as Altuve took that ball in the short hop to the backhand side and then transferred the tag and got Mercer trying to move over on the pitch in the dirt.
This is all Jose Altuve right here. Castro actually double pumped on that ball, getting it out of his glove. And by the time he saw Altuve sitting at the bag, watch this dig and how quick Altuve stuck that tag on Mercer. Dig on the opposite side, sticks it back over, takes away part of the bag with his front foot, and just a beautiful play for his pitcher right there.
It was great glove work. A little chop goes foul. McHenry's still at the count of 2-2 right now.
It's a big pick-me-up for a pitcher situation. You start struggling a little bit, and I happen to think that Peacock struggles a little bit out of the stretch position and falls a little bit behind in the count, elevates some pitches, and get a catcher and an infielder bailing you out like that. It's a big boost.
Yeah, instead of a runner at second, 1 out, it's nobody on and 2 outs. And he finishes it off here in the 5th inning with strikeout number 4. No runs a hit, nobody left for the Buccos, and 5 very good innings in the books for Brad Peacock. It's 1-0 Pittsburgh.
Celebration of
Astros Baseball Club and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Houston Astros Baseball Club.
Well, we hope you're enjoying the day here. Pirates 1, Astros 0. Bottom of the 5th inning coming your way from Osceola County Stadium in Kissimmee, Florida on Comcast Sportsnet in Houston. Our next telecast will be Sunday. That'll be a 12 o'clock matchup between the Astros and the Blue Jays. And then moving ahead, you see the remaining games for the Astros this spring. Game on the 24th with the Marlins and the 25th with the Nationals. And then back home at Minute Maid Park for that telecast on Friday night, March 29th with the Cubs. So the brand new colors the Astros are sporting. The new branding comes to Minute Maid Park for that game. And then another game the following day, the 30th with the Cubs, a day game before the official Major League opener on the 31st with the Texas Rangers, a Sunday night game.
It's going to be a lot of fun. New league, new uniforms. Check out that rainbow they have underneath the armpits for the Astro on the side. I thought it's a great idea to incorporate that era of the team. And check out all those colors. Orange really pops, and notice a lot of times some of the players have orange shoelaces, and I think that's a good look too. It's Matt Dominguez in the dugout.
Strike one to Brandon Laird. Laird hit a fly ball to right field in the second. He'll be followed by Fryman, and Castro's due up third in the inning. Kevin Chapman was warming up for the Astros, is now taking a seat.
There you go.
It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Yeah, a lot of fans will be out, of course, for that first homestand. 3 with the Rangers, 3 with the Oakland A's. And they'll be stocking up with the new gear in the various shops at Minute Maid Park. Ground ball, and the shortstop gets in front of it. Mercer for out number 1. 4 straight retired by Genmar Gomez.
Gomez has good action on all his pitches. A lot of late life. You'll see a lot of miscues from opposing hitters when he keeps the ball down in the zone. Gets a lot of ground balls.
Nate Fryman, who grounded to second in the second inning, comes around for the second time in this game. The Astros have a lot of first base options, including Fryman. Mercer gets the hop here. Turns it into out number 2. Carlos Pena, Brett Wallace, Chris Carter can all play first base in addition to Fryman. So there's a lot of sorting out to do as far as who makes the club and who doesn't, and where they play if they make the club.
Right.
Jason Castro next. He struck out in the second inning.
It's been a couple times during spring training while the Astros have been taking batting practice where I've had to do a double take just to see who is hitting, because Jason Castro looks bigger and stronger, more mobile than we've seen in the last few years. And we notice when he gets his setup, he likes to tilt his shoulders downward toward the pitcher so he can get the head of the bat out more in front of him. See Brett Wallace trying to work on the same things.
Jason looks at it. It's 2-0. Jason, 25 years old, from Castro Valley, California, Stanford University, first round pick in 08. Last year he had 257 at bats. He drove in 29 runs. But I think he's capable of a whole lot more production than that, and this might be the year you see it.
I think they recognize a couple of things in his swing where he could drive the ball, especially the other way, with a lot more effectiveness.
4-pitch walk here for him.
He's always been pretty selective, even for a young hitter, Bill. He's been kind of advanced in his years as far as patience.
The Rockets hit the home stretch looking to stop the T-Wolves from taking the final playoff spot. You won't want to miss a minute of the action. Rockets Timberwolves tonight at 7 p.m. on Comcast Sportsnet.
Looks like Kevin Chapman will probably come in for the next inning for Brad Peacock, who threw 5 innings.
Brandon Barnes grounded out in the 3rd inning. Chapman, a hard-throwing lefty. And if he does not make the big league club, he's probably not too far away. He's been one of the bright spots to watch this spring. Barnes brings that football-type mentality. He was in the cage during batting practice, got mad at himself for failing to get a bunt down.
Tackle himself.
Just about.
Well, I want to see a guy clothesline himself.
Yeah, it's fun to watch that kind of intensity, though, Sparky, even though, you know, people wonder if that's going to hold up over a 162-game season, but for him it might.
I think it does for him. I think he has to do that, or when he bottles things in, he's not as effective.
Good point. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I know you're like that when you have a bad game and you take it home and go tackle the dog.
Well, no matter how bad a game we have today, our thoughts are with Alan Ashby, because he's unable to work today with a couple of broken ribs from a fall. And talked to him this morning. He's on some painkillers right now. Very painful injury. 1 and 2, but you're very kind to be able to give up a day off and fill in for him. And
this is a day off. Come and watch a baseball game.
You're right.
This is fun.
Got your family here, so they're enjoying the day as well.
That's right.
It's been spring break week in Houston, so we've seen a lot of Houston families.
Yeah. Notice the traffic picked up a little bit too. All that Disney traffic.
You know it. Runner going, and the pitch is in the dirt, so he'll make it easily. Jason Castro to second with a stolen base.
Good pitch to pick on that time. Castro on 2-2 count recognizes this slider down in the dirt, takes off early, gets a good jump, and Castro, for a catcher, he'll swipe a few.
Sparky, that's a great time to go. First of all, pitchers sometimes like to waste a pitch on 1 and 2. And in that case, that was the case, so it's hard for the catcher to handle that one in the dirt. Secondly, Barnes had a 1 and 2 count, 2 outs in the inning. If Castro is thrown out, Barnes leads off the next inning. That's not a bad thing.
Not at all. I mean, that's a speedy guy who very capable of working counts, and he's almost like a secondary leadoff guy here, batting today in the 8th hole, and just sets up well. Why not take a chance there and get in scoring position?
Right, and if it works the way it did, now he is in scoring position and he's going on anything hit with 2 outs, so it could lead to a run.
Yep.
3-2 now with Tyler Green on deck.
Typically in a 1-0 game at this point with the base open, Barnes will probably see an off-speed pitch right here. See if he'll offer something a little bit out of the zone. See what Russ Martin wants to do here.
Grounded to third. Big hop there for Alvarez. 2 in the 5th inning. It's no runs, no hits, and a man stranded. 1-0 Pittsburgh. It's 1-0. The Pirates lead the Astros. Kevin Chapman among the changes for the Astros here, as they have gone to the bullpen after 5 excellent innings by Brad Peacock. He allowed just 4 hits and 1 run with 1 walk and struck out 4.
Got to feel pretty good about himself. And now Kevin Chapman, who was the closer last year in AA Corpus Christi, come on, and he's had a awesome spring training regardless of that ERA. 3 1/3 innings, 3 hits, no walks, 4 punch outs. And I'll be honest with you, this guy's come in and opened some eyes on the Astros coaching staff. He really makes left-handers look uncomfortable at the plate. He's got a nice slider, but throw his fastball in the low 90s, and it just looks like a guy who's not afraid to go in there and throw strikes.
You know, I'm glad you made that comment, because I had just had some complimentary things to say about Kevin Chapman, and then people at home who are listening, looking at the ERA, are saying, what are these guys talking about? Look at that ERA. It's over 8. Well, you look for different things in spring training.
That's only 3 or 4 games. I'm talking about stuff-wise. This guy can do it.
Bunted foul by Marte. Jose Martinez in the game at third base. Comes up with that one. Brandon Laird has moved across the diamond to first base.
The other thing you want to make sure that you're evaluating a guy on is how you would use him during the course of a season. And he would probably be a guy that would come in and face left-handed hitters, and what he's done against left-handed hitters is make them look very uncomfortable.
Exactly. And that's why spring training is a time to take note of players like Kevin Chapman. Whether he makes the big league club or not, he's made enough of an impression that he will be at the forefront of the decision makers when the time comes, right?
Yeah, and I think Astros, you're thinking of Wesley Wright, Xavier Cedeno, the lefties out of the bullpen. They may have a lefty long guy.
Broken bat roller. Green with a low throw to Laird. Gets him. That could be interesting.
Talk about good movement, good late movement. Check out this pitch by Chapman. Just keeps running in on a guy that has very quick hands to begin with, and to saw him off like that, that tells you a little something about his stuff.
You know, that's the appropriate point to make too, Sparky. And you indicated that earlier. Now you tend to measure guys, if you're a major league general manager or somebody in a decision-making situation, based on what they're doing in spring training against established players or against guys who are viewed as good players.
Yeah. Yeah, Marte, I mean, he's a budding star. And he just ran a fastball in on the hands of a guy who's very quick inside. It tells me that he's got good deception and good movement.
Presley tried to bunt, fouled it for strike one.
He's pitching a little bit in the big leagues with the Kansas City Royals, so he's had a taste. He wasn't really ready at the time, but I think he's ready now.
Chapman's from Coral Springs, Florida, and the University of Florida. No balls, 2 strikes. Kansas City drafted him in the 4th round in 2010. The Astros got him in the trade last spring training for Jason Bourgeois and Humberto Quintero. Last year he was an all-star in the Texas League with a 2.64 ERA for Corpus Christi. Struck out 59 in 58 innings. Breaking ball fouled out of play. And generally speaking, if a guy performs well at Double-A, he's considered to be not too far away from the big leagues.
Yeah, especially, you know, this guy's a closer and he's a lefty. You know, he can get righties and lefties out when he's a closer. That's saying a lot. And watch Alex Presley. This is a seasoned major league. Watch his front hip open up. He's not comfortable.
He's headed back to Bradenton with that front hip.
Yeah, he's bailing. He is not comfortable now. Got a fastball in on him that time. See if he throws that slider away right there, and probably see a feeble swing at this one. Doug Brocail's talked about this in spring training as well. I like what I see from this big guy.
Chapman's listed at 6'3", 220. Slider off the play 1 and 2. One of the scouting reports indicated that Chapman has been working on his consistency at getting the ball out of his glove. We hear that a lot about a pitcher, Sparky.
It's not just how you get it out of your glove, it's how far you take your hand down. If you take it as far down as your belt or something, but something that's consistent where you can have a consistent release point. Check that out.
Oh, that's some abuse. 2 outs.
Presley might as well just put his seatbelt on that time. He was bailing as soon as Chapman released that baseball, and continues to show the coaching staff why might be a good candidate to be on this pitching staff.
Don't miss your chance to purchase 2013 Astros regular season tickets. Tickets for individual games, including opening night, are on sale now. For information on all the biggest games or to get your tickets now, call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com. Strike to Russell Martin. Martin had wanted to play shortstop in the World Baseball Classic. Pirates didn't like that idea as much. You can understand why he didn't want to go through the rigors of catching in the WBC. But the idea of putting him at risk at a position he doesn't normally play wasn't all that appealing to the Buccos.
Jai-Jin Lowe warming up for the Astros down in the bullpen. He's had a nice eye-opening spring training for the Astros as well.
And tied, it's 2-1. Well, you know, you mentioned guys like Chapman and Lowe as we are in this inning. And that's probably one of the bonuses that you get if you're able to watch some of these 10 televised games from spring training. You're looking into the future of the organization.
Yep. It's also the beauty of only bringing 61 guys to spring training. I think the Yankees, in comparison, have 81 in camp.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get a good look at a lot of your guys, and the Astros have had the opportunity to get good long looks at guys like Chapman and Lowe.
There you go.
Upstairs, and Martin takes the 2-out walk. Now Pedro Alvarez, another left-handed batter, comes up, and this will be a measuring stick too. How Chapman does against the lefties. Presley was looking uncomfortable against him. We'll see how Alvarez fares. He has a double and a walk today. You know, a lot of times with a veteran player, and Alvarez would be a young veteran if you want to classify him that way, he doesn't have to worry about making the club.
Right.
He wants to go through spring training healthy. He's got a lefty out on the mound who might challenge that. There's ball one. And so you might question the resolve of a guy in Alvarez's situation against somebody like Chapman. And you do go through those various situations.
Well, check out his average. He's hitting 115. And I can't tell you how many times I've talked to left-handed hitters who get locked back in by facing a good lefty because it forces them to keep their front shoulder in.
Good point. 2-0.
A lot of times they go through a myriad of at-bats where they're facing only right-handers, and they get into bad habits by opening up that front shoulder and still flicking some balls into left field and getting a few base hits. But over time, those bad habits creep in, and then they start going into a tailspin. And it's a lot of time when they face those good, tough lefties again that gets them back into the right mechanics.
2-0 to Alvarez. 1-0 game. The Pirate run came in the second on a single by Garrett Jones off Brad Peacock. And a pretty good cut there by Alvarez at that 2-0 pitch.
Fastball middle away that time. Alvarez right on it. Just missed it, fouling it straight back. See some birds out in the outfield now, checking out some of the sunflower seeds that Justin Maxwell's been spitting out there, I think. Seen a lot of those on the coast as well when the Astros have gone and played in Bradenton.
Big cut by Alvarez, 2-2. Those birds just have an innate sense of knowing when the game is moving to the late stages and when food is going to be lying around for them to consume, don't they?
Yeah, it's amazing. 4 o'clock, 4:30. Realize it's about dinner time. People taking off. Leave some of their wrappers with some of the hot dog buns still left in there. For you, cotton candy.
Chapman with a move over to first. Well, there's so much happening this time of year. The minor leaguers are here. So there's a lot to take in on the back diamonds as well.
Yeah.
We'll get a little preview with the looks of Carlos Correa and the starting lineup we hear tomorrow night for the Astros. Singleton will be there. Struck him out. And that's a very good 6th inning with 2 strikeouts for Chapman. It's 1-0 Pittsburgh.
Watch that. That's nasty.
Well, it's a 1-0 ball game. The Pirates are leading. Bottom of the 6th inning coming up here in Kissimmee. And we've had some very fine pitching today. Jonathan Sanchez looked outstanding for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He gave up a leadoff single to Jose Altuve and then retired the next 9. And then 5 more set down in a row as Jenmar Gomez came to the hill. So the Astros looking to break through as they try to come from behind and win this one, coming up in the bottom of the 6th.
about Orbit down there with 2 baseballs sticking out of the side of his head? He's here every game here in spring training this year. Just done a great job. The kids through the concourses can't get enough of the Astros mascot. He's making a name for himself here in the Grapefruit League.
Yeah, he is a good entertainer. The return of Orbit this year as the Astros mascot. He was a part of the unveiling at Minute Maid Park over the winter.
See, that old guy right there didn't really particularly care for Orbit slapping him on the back of the head. A lot of people getting pictures with him. Good crowd here today. A lot of sunshine here in Florida. Bo Porter's team trailing 1-0. We talked about his pitching staff being in the lower third of Major League ERA, but done a great job here today with Brad Peacock and Kevin Chapman so far, throwing 6 innings and only giving up 1 run. And Astros haven't gotten it really going offensively. 5 innings, 1 hit. See if that changes here with Tyler Green's second at bat.
Tyler struck out in the 3rd inning his first time up. That was against the lefty Jonathan Sanchez. The Astros tomorrow night will send Lucas Harrell to the mound against Steven Strasburg. And then we're on the air for the Sunday game with the Toronto Blue Jays here, a very highly touted team in spring training. After that huge deal they made with the Marlins and other acquisitions, they would be some people's favorite to win the American League East.
Yeah.
Green pulls 1 foul, strike 1. Well, as you look around the various divisions, what would you think about that American League East? Do you like Toronto to win?
Yeah, I don't think you can argue. Mark Burley, R.A. Dickey, Josh Johnson, Ricky Romero, Brandon Morrow. That pitching staff alone can cause a lot of damage going through that tough division. But I think New York's down. You know, I don't think Baltimore will be quite as good, although I think they'll be good. I think Boston's down. Tampa Bay might be down a little bit. They lost a couple guys. I think it's Toronto's for the taking.
Blue Jays look good on paper.
There you go.
I'm a big fan of Jose Reyes anyway. And
right.
I've heard from multiple people about his clubhouse presence, his work ethic, and what he means to a team. I think he'll make a big difference with them and get a healthy Jose Bautista.
Tyler Green lays off, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. American League Central, the Detroit Tigers are picked by many once again to win, but they apparently are going with a rookie closer, Bruce Rondon. If he can nail down the job, that's somewhat unusual for a high salary team.
Dave Dombrowski talked about in the offseason that they wanted to see if Rondon could handle adversity. And they said there was a couple occasions in winter ball where he gave it up but came back the next day and looked like he'd totally forgotten about it. It was just his same dominating self, so felt like he could handle it. But so far spring training this year, he looks a little shaky. They've started to panic a little bit in Motown, and they're looking around. They're talking about maybe Rick Porcello, one of their starting pitchers, going to the back end of the the bullpen.
Off the glove of Alvarez. He will not have a play on Tyler Green. It would have been a long throw to make from foul ground had he been able to make that short hop pickup to the backhand side.
See how they scored that. That was a tough chance that time by Pedro Alvarez. I don't think he could have moved his feet any further over to get in front of that ball. Had to try to backhand it. And on that short hop, just hit the heel of his glove. And by the time he retrieved the baseball, Tyler Green was already past first base.
Hit number 2 for the Astros. Green is aboard for Jose Altuve. Jose led off the Astros first with a single to right center. Green's only the 3rd Houston base runner here as Jenmar Gomez is in relief of Jonathan Sanchez. Dealing ball 1. Altuve 1 for 2 today. And what about the AL West? The Angels look very good on paper.
They do. And I think it's going to come down to their pitching because obviously offensively they're very solid up and down that lineup. They've got a lot of speed, obviously have a lot of power, but at the same time they're going to run into situations where they've got a few guys on their team that strike out a lot.
Strike 2 Altuve. It's a 1-1 count. Well, the Astros go right up against those rivals in the AL West right out of the chute. We mentioned that first homestand, Texas and Oakland. Then they go out west for 3 teams. So they'll get early looks at everybody in the division.
Right.
They'll go up to Seattle on that first road trip in addition to traveling to Anaheim and Oakland. Altuve looks at a close one. Ball 2. It's 2-1, and there you see it.
It's not very easy right out of the gate for the Astros, and talked about playing the Rangers, and the A's have great pitching. I mean, their young pitching last year, they started over 100 games during the season last year. Rookies I'm talking about, now coming into their second year, should have an idea of how to navigate through a long season, but those guys are very talented.
Bunted by Altuve. Gomez bare hands and throws him out. Green on the sacrifice moves to second base.
Key for any hitter when they're in sacrifice mode is getting the barrel of the bat out in front of home plate so it stays fair. Jose does a good job getting the bat out in front. Gets the ball down, and you don't want to be too fine in a sacrifice situation. Just make sure you deaden the ball somewhere out in front. Guys get in trouble when they're trying to guide it down the lines. That's not the intent of a sacrifice bunt.
Green's in scoring position for Justin Maxwell. Maxwell is struck out and fly to right. Interesting here that Tyler Green has led off several games with Altuve batting second this spring. There's strike 1. Today it's Altuve leading off and Green batting ninth, but still the same idea that Green got on base to lead off the inning and Altuve advanced him.
Yep. And ideally, I think that's what Bo Porter would like to see happen. You got 2 weeks left here in spring training. You get Green or Marwin Gonzalez heating up. He can stick Altuve in the 2-hole and generate more offense.
No balls, 2 strikes.
Bo Porter had Ian Desmond as the shortstop on the team he coached with last year. Bo was the third base coach of the Washington Nationals, and feels Tyler Green could be that same type of player, just that captain in the infield, offensive presence.
He's going to third. Here's the throw from Martin. Not in time. A steal of third by Tyler Green, and the pitch was a ball. So the count's now 1-2 as he's at third with 1 out in the inning.
Well, 1 out's the best time to steal third base. You got a lot more ways of scoring from third base with 1 out, and just a tremendous jump that time by Tyler Green, and showing good instincts on the bases as he's done his entire career.
Well, the infield comes in after that steal of third.
I'm not sure if Clint Hurdle would actually do that in the 6th inning of a regular season game, but sometimes guys do things unorthodox just to see how his team handles certain situations. And you're talking about an infield playing in. This is more than just in. These guys look like they're right on top of Justin Maxwell, and if I'm on the left side of the infield, I would have a mouthpiece in right now, because Maxwell can take somebody's teeth out right here.
That was Green's second steal of the spring, by the way. Maxwell moves back. That one hit him. So now it's first and third with 1 out for Chris Carter. Or not Chris Carter. He's left the game for a pinch hitter.
Slider that time from Gomez ends up backing up on Maxwell, and I think it just hit the belt. You could hear that tick, probably that metal part of the belt, before it ricocheted into Russell Martin's glove. And Ray Sears, the pitching coach, is going to go out to the mound now to talk to his big righty. Nobody warming up in the bullpen.
Jason Jaramillo comes up to pinch hit for Carter. Carter is the DH, 0 for 2 today with a fly ball to right and a strikeout.
Don't see much flying around. It could have hit the shirt, whatever, and Maxwell knew at least it didn't hurt, so I'll take my base. After a quick discussion out to the mound, they're just trying to look, okay, how are we going to play this? Probably in on the corners, third base and first base, and probably double play depth up the middle on the backup catcher with the Astros.
Armillo has hit .333 this spring with 4 hits and 12 at-bats. He has 1 RBI. Jason trying to add to that RBI count right here and at least tie the game with the Astros trailing 1-0. Jason's 31 years old from Racine, Wisconsin. There's strike one.
Big time two-seam fastball that time by Gomez. Tons of movement at the zone, and that's his go-to pitch when he's looking for a ground ball. And obviously here with 1 out and runners on first and third, that's exactly what he wants. Dave Tremblay went through a lot of signals that time. See if the Astros put something on.
Armillo was with the Pirates, drafted by the Phillies to begin his career. That's the strike, and he falls behind 0-2 now.
Pitch flattened out that time, but it was good location right on the corner. Armillo looking for something to drive, and that's not the pitch you want to swing at if you want to drive it somewhere in the outfield.
He takes that one for a ball. It's 1-2 to Jaramillo. Was with the Pirates in 09 and 10 and again in 11, but just not a lot of at-bats as a big league player. 336 for his major league career with a .235 average. He started Oklahoma State in the college ranks. The Astros signed him as a free agent this January. He fouls that one. Still a 1-2 count with J.D. Martinez on deck.
Armillo doing a good job fouling that tough pitch. Good slider with good depth on that one. Gomez spent parts of 3 seasons in the big leagues with the Cleveland Indians before getting traded over last January.
Gomez came into this game with an ERA for this spring of 12.
Is that any good?
Well, it would be good for some guys this spring. Misses there, and it's 2-2, but this is one of those days for Pirate pitchers to lower their ERAs. Yeah. Sanchez had an 11.81 ERA, and he was sparkling for 3 innings.
It just goes to show you what these numbers mean in spring training. You know, it's so early, and it's such a small sample size, and I tend to try to evaluate guys with my eyes, as I think a lot of the coaching staffs do here for all these teams in the spring.
Strikeout for Gomez. It's a big one for him for out number 2.
That's that slider again, and that's Gomez's go-to pitch when he's trying to put a guy away. Check out the depth on this pitch as it just goes underneath the bat of Jaramillo. Fooled on speed and location that time for the second out.
Genmar Gomez now with runners at the corners and 2 outs will go up against J.D. Martinez, who's 0 for 2. 2 fly balls to right field for J.D. today. Gomez made the Indians opening day roster last year. He was 5-8 with a 5.96 ERA, though. Runner going to second, no throw. Maxwell gets an easy steal. Pitch was strike 1 to Martinez.
Noticeably better bat speed from J.D. Martinez this year compared to last, and we saw J.D. with ice on his hand over and over again, his left hand, and you see him choke up a little bit now so he doesn't apply much pressure on that knob of the bat and cause irritation in that hand.
1-1. Gomez stretching it out today. He's in his 3rd inning. Pirates will get a right-hander loose here in a few minutes. Gomez was traded to Pittsburgh in January. Tyler Green's a runner at 3rd. He stole 3rd. Justin Maxwell at 2nd. He stole 2nd. So the Astros have done what they can to get people in scoring position. Now they need a hit.
Big Chris LaRue, 6'6" pitcher for the Pirates, now warming up down in the bullpen.
LaRue's just back from the WBC. This will be his first outing since then if he pitches today. Good play by Russell Martin. That saved a run.
That looked like a shortstop right there. No wonder he wanted to play short for Team Canada.
Yeah, he played short on that ball. You're right. Well, that was just outstanding technique.
Very athletic catcher, and he has been his entire career. His bat speed's obviously gone down a little bit since his days with the Dodgers, but one of the more athletic guys behind the plate.
Well, he saved Green from scoring and Maxwell from taking third base with that play. And a swing and a miss ends it in the Astros' 6th inning. They threaten but come away scoreless. Put together a hit. They leave 2, and it's 1-0 Buccos. It's 1-0. The Pirates lead it after 6 here in Kissimmee. We have many changes now for Bo Porter and the Houston Astros. As we're at that phase of the game, his starters have been in for 6 innings. They've had their 3 plate appearances, some of them a couple. And he's going to the bullpen again. Cha-Jen Lowe coming in after Kevin Chapman worked a scoreless 6th inning, striking out 2 and hitting a batter, gave up a hit. Lowe also has been impressive with his fastball this spring, Sparky.
Especially against right-handed hitters who haven't even gotten a knock off of him. 7 punch-outs in 5 2/3. Lowe in 4 seasons in the minor leagues has an ERA just north of 2, so he's done it when he's healthy. He just needs to stay healthy, and he'll be in the big leagues probably at some point this year. Been very dominating here in spring training. Got a good low 90s fastball, and he can spot his off-speed stuff as well.
Shift is on for Garrett Jones. Jones 1 for 2. He's hit the ball to left field both times despite this shift. And his first hit in the 2nd inning, giving him a 1 for 2 day, was the RBI single. It barely cleared the infield dirt area. Then he hit a deep drive to the warning track, caught in the 4th inning to left. 1-1. We have a new right fielder, Jimmy Paredes. It's Robbie Grossman in center, Fernando Martinez in left. There's Paredes in right. Jonathan Villar's the new shortstop. Fernando Martinez in left there with Grossman in center. Altuve's in shallow right field on this shift as the pitch is fouled away for a 1-ball, 2-strike count.
Well, we talked about this earlier, and you'll see the Astros do this a lot against pull hitters. And when there's not a runner on second, the shortstop will peel way over towards second base as well, and playing as far back as they can, trying to take some of these hitters out of their game if they want to try to do something different. But typically the outfield will play pretty straight up on these infield shifts.
To center field, Grossman got a good jump, but that'll loop in for a hit in front of him. Jones is 2 for 3 in this game.
I thought Jones was just going to play 5 innings today, and Clint Hurdle allowed his first baseman to play longer than that, but he'll have a pinch runner now Josh Harrison will come in and run for Garrett Jones at first base. Garrett Jones ends his day going 2 for 3, first day back in about 10 days.
Harrison the runner. Snyder the hitter. Snyder's 0 for 2. Cha Jin Lo, 25 years old. He's from Taiwan. He was signed back in 08. Last year didn't get a lot of pitching in. He's coming back from some injuries this year. And he's come back with nice velocity that you've talked about, Sparky.
Yeah, he was signed by Glenn Barker, former Houston Astro, and he's a scout internationally for the team. And Lowe, like you said, whenever he's healthy, he's done a great job, and he was on a quick rise up through the system and had to restart a couple times just because he's missed so much time. He looks great now, the first Taiwanese-born player in Astros history. And like I said, he's got command of all of his pitches. He's got a good splitty that he can neutralize a lot of the lefties. He can touch 95, but he's better when he's 91, 92. He's got better movement and location.
Time called. There's a look at the top spring relievers if you're looking for spring numbers. And Edgar Gonzalez is somebody who should not be lost in the mix here because he pitched effectively several times for the Astros late last year, and he knows how to pitch. He's been pitching this winter. He really competes.
Does, and he came up real early to the big leagues, and he was only 19 or 20 years old when he led Amorosio's team in ERA. In fact, the whole Mexican League in ERA as a youngster, and got to the big leagues quickly with Arizona Diamondbacks. Astros saw him pitch a couple really nice games last year late in the season, and it's been really impressive. One of the more impressive guys all spring.
Harrison draws some attention there at first with a count 2-1. Good running count. Clint Hurdle might want to use that running game here, up 1-0 with the favorable count on Snyder. He also might not want to use it because he has that hole at first base for this left-handed hitter if Harrison stays there. He's going. Castro's throw drifts, and it's not caught at shortstop. He gets away from Jonathan Villar, who just entered the game, and that allows Harrison to advance to third base.
Shortstop Jonathan Villar got a little bit of a late jump that time to cover second base, and pretty good feet that time on a catch and throw. And exactly when Villar was to apply the tag, Josh Harrison's helmet knocked it out of his glove.
So a stolen base and an error on Villar puts the runner at third base.
Astros infield comes in now. Middle infielders probably playing about halfway.
It's foul back for a 3-2 count.
Check out the infield, and ground ball hit to them. Whenever the infield's playing in, the coach is telling those guys the ball hit to you, the first play to be made is at home. So at the very least, look the runner back to third and get the out at first.
De Jesus is on deck. Slicing fly ball near the line. This could be trouble for the Astros. Villar giving chase. It's a fair ball. That'll score a run and make it 2-0 Pittsburgh on a looping pop fly double. Snyder drops one just fair inside the left field line. It's RBI number 3 of the spring for him.
Full swing that time by Travis Snyder, and that pitch was running away from him. Does not hit this ball very well at all. He just gets it off the end of the bat, just perfectly placed. Just one of those balls that just hit right in between the guys who tried to get there. Fernando Martinez, Jose Martinez, and Jonathan Villar. None of them had a chance to get that ball, and it was just perfectly placed by Travis Snyder to give Pirates now a 2-0 lead here in the 7th inning.
And Snyder now is in scoring position for De Jesus, who singled in the second inning. He's 1 for 2. Jordy Mercer's on deck. Hit number 6 for Pittsburgh. A liner to right field. Paredes comes up with it on a hop. It's a hit. Here's the throw to third. It's wide. An ill-advised throw to third. And that's the third hit of the inning. It's first and third, nobody out.
Nice jump that time by Jimmy Paredes, and he did a nice job of keeping that baseball in front of him. Decided he was going to give it a chance instead of laying back for the longer hop, but takes the short hop off De Jesus and fires a ball into third base. It's lucky that ball didn't skip by him and roll all the way to the wall.
Absolutely. No damage done. It's first and third, nobody out for Mercer now. Mercer singled to left center in the 5th inning. He's 1 for 2. McHenry's on deck. Squeeze was on, but it looked like a safety squeeze. The runner at third was not breaking with a pitch. Snyder was just laying back, and the ball was fouled.
Seen Jimmy Paredes come up as a shortstop in the Yankees organization. Then he played third, then second. Now he's out in the outfield picking it as well. Looked like an infielder on that one, Bill.
He did. It's slick glove work. The guy makes a play like that, he wants to throw it somewhere and get somebody out, Sparky.
That's right. Complete the deal. Got traded over from the Yankees in that Lance Berkman deal a couple years ago, and a lot of raw tools.
Foul back. How do you think Lance will do with the Rangers this year?
You know, it's all a matter of just staying healthy. Obviously, he can roll out of bed and hit 280, 290, and his on-base percentage with his patience at the plate's always going to be upward in the high 3s. You know, it's just a matter of staying healthy, and I don't know how healthy he is at this stage of his career.
No, we haven't seen any reports on him at all.
I think the game's better when he's in it, though.
Oh, yeah. Warm-up action for the Astros, as you saw. This is a fly ball deep enough to get the run home as Grossman retreats to make the catch. He'll throw into second base. His run number 3 scores. And Mercer gets the sac fly for his second RBI of the spring, scoring Snyder. 3-0 Pittsburgh.
Good idea that time by Mercer, looking for a pitch that he could drive out into the outfield and get that third run in for the Pirates.
Well, the bunt didn't work, but the fly ball certainly did. Now it's McHenry batting. Grossman, though, is a player to watch for Astros fans. He came to the Astros in the Wandy Rodriguez trade last year, and he's made good progress. McHenry has popped to second and struck out. Grossman, the type of player who walks a lot, has a high on-base average. He's a local product from Cy-Fair High School and gets good jumps in the outfield. And, you know, at this point, Sparky, we have no clue who's going to be a AA, who's going to be a AAA. That'll be kind of the fun of spring training as well, to see where all these players wind up at the end of the spring.
I agree. Got a lot of talented outfielders.
Strike to McHenry. Well, we saw George Springer put on a show against the Blue Jays earlier this spring.
We did. Homers. Yeah. One to right center, one to left center, and he's just fast and he's got a good arm. He's just got it all. You know, it's just putting it together and recognizing the way pitchers are trying to pitch him at this point.
No balls, 2 strikes to Michael McHenry.
I think a lot of the advanced thinking we see Bo Porter, and he's even talked about, he doesn't really want to know how guys are hitting, what they're hitting. Wants to know who swings at good pitches. That's how he knows when a guy is closer to being ready for the big leagues. That's the big thing for young guys.
Boy, isn't it though? 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Astros in the minor leagues are going to have charts to recognize guys swinging at pitches in the zone rather than the traditional methods of seeing, guys home runs and RBIs and averages. They want to just see who's picking on pitches that they recognize that they can drive.
Interesting. Upstairs for ball, 2 balls, 2 strikes. The analytical staff has plenty to process this year.
Yep. You know what? And I think it's right on. And you talk about Bo Porter on what style of manager he is. Well, he said, well, show me my roster first, and I'll tell you how I'm going to manage this team. How I'm going to try to line guys up to be successful against opposing teams.
Excellent way to answer the question. Runner going. Swing and a miss. Castro with a throw. It's a beauty. And Altuve applies the tag as De Jesus is gunned down for a strikeout and a 2-4 play on the caught stealing to end the 7th inning. Pirates get 2 and they lead at 3-0.
It's the age of knowing what you're made of. Why let
For the Pirates, they just tacked on 2, and now the Astros will get their half of the 7th inning against Chris LaRue. Pirates have made more changes. Here's the way the top of the 7th ended.
Strike him out, throw him out. Look at this runner. Look in case the runner pops it up so he can get back. But he's hosed by Jason Castro because look at his feet. It's like he's jumping on a skateboard right there. Gets his back foot perpendicular to the throw and gets off a beauty. Altuve showing good quick hands. Tries to take away part of the bag as an infielder. Make sure that the runner slides to the outfield side so he can make an easy tag.
Chris LaRue is returning now from the WBC Canadian team. This will be his first outing for the Pirates since returning from the World Baseball Classic.
Big guy, too, 6'6". Look at the leverage he gets on his pitches. He can get it up to 96 miles an hour with his 4-seamer, and probably a little further ahead than a lot of guys, knowing that he was going to be pitching in fierce competition in the WBC. He's got an 85-mile-an-hour slurve. It's best when his fastball's in the low 90s where it gets a little bit more sink. And he's a good ground ball pitcher, especially for a tall guy.
New catcher in the game is Lucas May, replacing Russell Martin. Chris LaRue from Montreal, played for Team Canada. That was an interesting fracas Canada and Mexico got into. Brandon Laird takes, and there's ball 1. Laird is 0 for 2. The new shortstop is a native of Petersburg, South Africa, with an unusual name, Gift Ngepe.
Don't look Ngepe in the mouth.
To high school at Rand Park, South Africa.
Wow.
Is that the first South African you've seen in a game?
Today.
3 balls and no strikes. Gift Ngepe at shortstop.
Ngepe likes to stretch. He's coming off the bench. I like the way he wears his pants. He's ready to play.
So far, he looks great. He hasn't had to do anything yet. 3 balls and a strike.
He's ready. Look at those stirrups. That's old school South Africa right there.
Yes, it is.
What kind of cleats are those? I haven't seen those.
No, haven't seen them, Sparky. That's a shot line foul over the Astros bullpen. And Laird aggressive on that 3-1 pitch, was out in front of it. Full count now to Brandon.
Laird really sees the baseball well. It's like it's coming in slow motion to Laird. He stays back, keeps his head still. See a lot of hitters move their head toward the pitcher and the pitches speed up. This guy's real still. Just takes a nice hack.
That's in the air to center field. And pretty deep to center field. Caught on the warning track for a long out, number 1. Sports Talk Live with Kevin Eschenfelder wrangles up some noteworthy sports guests that have plenty of buzzworthy opinions and play-by-play analysis. You never know who will stop by on Sports Talk Live weekdays at 5. Maybe even Steve Sparks, but he'll be pretty busy this year. Now here's Martinez batting for the first time.
Who's that guy you mentioned?
Steve Sparks, you know him?
Oh, Kevin who?
Oh, Eschenfelder. You know him too.
I thought it was Keith.
Keith. Now the Houston bench hoping that this will be the inning. They'll break through and do some scoring. There's strike 1. It's been Sanchez, 3 innings of 1-hit shutout ball as the starter. Genmar Gomez matched that with 3 innings of 1-hit shutout ball in relief. Now LaRue. And he misses there for a 1-1 count on Jose Martinez.
Martinez has been raking lately. His last week, he's really been stinging it. Got a couple doubles included in that mix.
Batting average 300 for the spring. 6 hits and 20 at-bats.
It's a big slider by LaRue. A lot of depth to that pitch. It's kind of in between that curveball and slider, and throws it so hard it breaks really sharply. Steven Strasburg sitting below us here, Brownie.
Oh, yeah.
Going to see him pitch tomorrow.
Somebody wearing his jersey anyway. 1 hopper to third. Turns into out number 2.
Hey, come get a behind-the-scenes look at Minute Maid Park. Learn all about the ballpark by visiting areas like historic Union Station, the broadcasting booth, luxury suites, the Diamond Club, and much more. For more information, visit astros.com/tours or call 713-259-TOUR to schedule your tour today.
That was Jared Gettert, the new third baseman, who just made that last play. Well, there's some new stuff to tour this year at Minute Maid.
That's right.
Castro, the batter, he struck out and walked. There's strike 1. The ballpark has been really improved since last year. All the new colors, of course, have been painted on.
Yeah, a lot of paint out there. I love this color scheme. It doesn't get any better than this, in my opinion.
What's your favorite? You like the home white uniform, or you like this one? This will be the alternate uniform. It could be worn in a game, not just for batting practice.
I'll be honest, I like this the best.
Yep, I think that this is the most popular one, I believe.
Yeah.
In terms of sales so far.
Then you get that orange hat in this. I mean, just that orange for some reason just really pops with this look.
It does.
Good color scheme.
Liner caught. And Gettert is there for out number 3. That's it for the 7th inning, and the Buccos lead it 3-0. Is tuning it up. He had an impressive relief outing not too long ago here in spring training for the Astros. Clemens was with the Braves organization. He came in the Michael Bourne deal to Houston in July of 2011 in a package involving several players. Last year pitched at both Corpus Christi and at Oklahoma City, and has thrown the ball well at times. He closed out a game the other day, Sparky, and threw the ball very well.
Not short on confidence. Paul Clemens comes out, really looks like he belongs in a big league uniform. He's got big league stuff for sure. He's one of the guys that came over in that Michael Bourne trade 2 Julys ago, and was really impressed Bo Porter and Doug Brocale and the rest of the staff with his composure and his stuff. He's just got to make sure that he continues to change speeds a little bit, not overthrow, but this guy certainly could figure to plan in the Astros' future, in the very near future, if he doesn't make this team out of spring training. Just get off to a good start in Oklahoma City, and he could be on his way. He's got a real hard fastball. He can throw up 95 to 97 miles per hour. Really lets it go. He's got a big overhand curveball, got a change up and a slider. He's got a bulldog mentality. You can see that fire in his eyes. He's ready to compete as soon as they gave him the baseball.
Well, that's exactly what he did in that last outing, March 8th, when he got the save against Washington. 1 inning, 1 hit, no runs. He struck out 3, throwing that mid to high 90s fastball you talked about. And now as he comes in, he'll be opening the 8th inning here against Lambeau. Andrew Lambeau. And deals strike 1. Clemens missing there, goes to a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Clemens, 25 years old. He's from Columbia, South Carolina.
Watch this big turn by Clemens. He likes to show those numbers to the hitter. This adds to the deception. Guys can't see the ball until he releases it. Makes a turn and just fires.
You're talking about his aggressiveness. Let's take a look at that.
Watch this turn right here. Show the numbers to the hitter. Hitter can't see the ball till it's right there. Then when it's 95, it looks like a Hyundai. Got a small infielder's glove ready to field his position. It's that breaking ball we saw that time on the hands of the left-handed hitter. Now he's got a chance to either bust him in with the fastball or run that 2-seam fastball low and away.
Breaking ball comes in high, and it's a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Well, the Astros have had a chance to take a look at Clemens and some others in the late inning relief roles with Jose Veras away at the WBC, and he will be their closer this year. But you just wonder sometimes, Sparky, looking at the numbers of a Paul Clemens, whether the Astros might be converting him to that closer role or somebody else.
I've seen a lot of guys like Clemens in camp this year. Saw Jared Cozart with similar stuff. We saw Mike Voltanevich come in for an inning earlier in spring training with similar stuff. Tall, rangy guys with electric arms. Really bodes well for the future. And I told that Wojciechowski, a lot of those guys they drafted last year, but a lot of these guys came over in trades. How about Cozart? Clemens came over in a trade. Wojciechowski came over in the trade with Jay Happ and Brandon Lyon to Toronto. Musgrove, same thing from Toronto.
Yeah, they picked up a lot of players.
A lot of starting pitching, too.
So they would trade sometimes one player for 4 or 5 or 2 players for 4 or 5, and that means they had this influx of something like 30 players into the organization through those trades in the last year, which really helps their depth, and it also sets up a lot of competition for minor league jobs and advancement.
So this is what they have to do with starting pitching now. They have so many starting pitchers.
That'll go foul.
Is they're going to have to piggyback these guys and say, I'm just going to say this for an example. Say Clemens and Cozart are pitching down in AAA. They're going to put those two together and pitch on a day. Clemens will throw the first 5. Cozart the last 4 innings of a given game. Then the next time through the rotation, they'll flip-flop. And what I like about that is, you know, they can manage their innings pitched, but they can also teach guys how to finish games. Whereas in the minor leagues, they don't get a chance to finish games and pitch the 9th inning very often.
Good point.
See Rene Garcia go out to the mound and talk to Clemens. Garcia, one of the guys that catching coach Jeff Murphy likes as well as anybody in this organization. He says he reminds him of Yadier Molina, and he would know. He spent the last 7 seasons over there as the bullpen catcher with the St. Louis Cardinals. Garcia sets up a lot like Molina, catch and throw guy.
That's in the air on the infield and into foul territory. Caught there by Laird. 1 out. So after a long battle, Clemens gets a harmless pop-up. You know, it's an interesting point about Rene Garcia as you make that comparison. And Jeff Murphy, new catching instructor with the Astros this year, he brings that different perspective, and having watched Molina develop through the years and turn into what he's turned into, quite often a catcher will move in kind of obscure fashion through the minor leagues, and then after he's been in the big leagues 4 or 5 years, you wonder where did this guy come from? You know, it just takes a lot longer usually for a catcher to get established, and the hitting normally is a bonus. It's the defensive work that you talked about that the instructors and the coaches look for.
To be a good defensive catcher is such a toll mentally on guys going through those long seasons in the minor leagues when they've never done anything like that in their high school or college career. It's very tough on these guys, but you see all these little tricks that they can learn coming to big league camp, and how to angle a little bit, and how to cover that glove over their left knee to hide the signs from the third base coach as PA takes another ball down.
Felix PA, formerly with the Cubs and Baltimore. Saw his numbers from last year at Gwinnett.
He's having a good spring. He's opened some eyes with this Pittsburgh team.
They signed him as a free agent last fall. Grossman going back, got a big jump, but it's over his head. And it rolls to the wall. PA stretches it out. He takes the turn and holds on at second base with a 1-out double. Now that's one of those plays. Grossman had to be pretty good to hold him to a double, because PA can really move.
Grossman has a lot of confidence in his ability to go back. He plays one of the more shallow center fields you'll see of anybody, but gets a good jump. But PA's shown a lot of power so far early this spring, and see what kind of a jump that Grossman gets. That ball straight at you. You've got to freeze for a second, make sure that ball doesn't burn you. But like you said, Bill, holding a fast guy like PA to a double right there shows a lot.
Oh, you're right about his numbers this spring. He has 2 homers. That's his second double, and he has a triple. Lucas May, the catcher, now is the batter. With ball 1. Just thinking about a guy like Clemens, not saying this is necessarily the case with him, but it might be. Sometimes a starting pitcher will just be lights out for an inning or 2.
Yeah.
And then he can't sustain the stuff.
Yeah.
So those are the guys you consider moving to closer or late inning guy.
Yeah. For whatever reason, sometimes young guys feel like when they get in a little bit of trouble, throwing harder is the answer. But sometimes guys just have to learn through seasons of minors or just experience of just playing games that you realize that location is better than velocity. And location is better than movement. And once you learn that, then you're able to make the next jump. But I think temperament-wise, Clemens may be better suited for the bullpen. Just looking, it looked like he has a lot of adrenaline. We showed a close-up of his face after his warm-up tosses. It looked like he was ready to go fight somebody, and you love that competitor in him. Sometimes to do that for 9 innings is tough.
Exactly. Good point. It's not that necessarily the starting pitcher is thinking, I want to save something and go 7 innings, but it's a different mentality, isn't it?
It really is. And it's just like what I was saying, overthrowing doesn't lend itself to starting. You know, you've got to minimize your pitch count to get deep in a game, and that's how you're valuable to a team, is you pitch deep into it.
To right field, Paredes backing, turning, and going further back for the catch, and that allows PA a chance to move easily to third base. That ball pretty deep. The guy with PA's speed moving over on out number 2.
Hey, on Friday, March 22nd, head to City Center to watch the Rockets take on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Enjoy the game on a huge big screen TV and receive prizes and more. The fun starts at 6:30 with Rockets pregame live, followed by the Cavs game at 7. Don't miss out on this main event presented by Comcast Sportsnet.
Now it's Geddard coming up. His first at bat of the day. Runner at third and 2 outs here in the Pirate 8th inning.
Rockets going to make the playoffs, Bill?
Yes, they are.
I agree.
Lakers dealt that injury to Kobe Bryant. That's not going to help them.
So in the last 2 days, we've had injuries to both Kobe Bryant and Alan Ashby.
Oh, that's tough, isn't it?
It's 2 guys I didn't think would miss any time.
Definitely not.
Ash said if it was a regular season game, he would have been here.
Oh, sure he would. 1 ball, 1 strike. He's ready to go Sunday if needed. We don't need El Cid at this point, so it'll be Steve Sparks with a knuckleball approach again on Sunday on television. We'd have to tape Allen to the chair in an upright position, and he wouldn't be able to laugh at all, so that wouldn't be his normal style. 2 balls and a strike. It's a marathon, Sparky.
Really?
You haven't heard that term before, have you?
Never have. I had to write that down.
Yes. Foul ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count. What's your favorite thing about spring training? The relaxed nature of it and getting to look at the kids, or something else?
I think it's when you're a starting pitcher getting done pretty quickly and going to play golf.
Okay.
That was my favorite thing.
That's an honest answer.
There was only 1 or 2 times when I knew I had a spot on the team. So those 2 spring trainings were a lot of fun. Every other year is a basket case. Felt like Roger Maris with my hair falling out. chasing Babe Ruth.
You know, it's a good point, because people who come over, as many have from Houston on spring break, to watch these games in a nice, relaxed fashion, just cannot get a feel for that naughty stomach feeling that a player has trying to make a club.
It's rough.
Near the left field line. And Martinez over.
Nice.
Yes. Fernando Martinez makes a nice catch up against the padding. No runs, a hit, and a runner stranded. The Astros come up in the bottom of the 8th, trailing the Buccos 3-0.
Showtime.
For the Pirates, the Astros will be batting here in the bottom of the 8th inning. They had an opportunity in the 6th. Couldn't cash in. Sparky.
Well, start of the inning, getting the leadoff hitter on. Check out Tyler Green pulling this ball down the line. Handcuffs Pedro Alvarez. So Astros have their leadoff guy on. Altuve doing a nice job sacrificing Green to second base. In a 1-0 game, he's going to steal third base. Get on third with only one out. Maxwell gets hit on the belt buckle, and it's first and third, one out. Got Gomez in a little bit of trouble, but Jaramillo strikes out on a good slider and fastball that time, running in on the hands of J.D. Martinez to squelch the rally by the Astros. So 3-0 Pirates here. That was the best opportunity for the Astros. That came in the 6th inning, and now, Bill, the Pirates have a new pitcher on.
Brian Morris, a right-hander, is 26 years old, from Tullahoma, Tennessee. He is pitcher number 4 for Clint Hurdle's Buccos today. They have collaborated so far on an outstanding day on the mound. 7 innings of 2 hits, shutout baseball with 1 walk and 5 strikeouts from the 3 pitchers who have worked so far.
Yeah, Brian Morris, pretty good prospect. He's number 14 according to Baseball America for the Pirates. He's got a mid-90s cutting fastball. His best pitch is his curve. He's got a good slider, and he played for his dad in junior college in Tennessee. That had to be a lot of fun.
You know it.
You know you had a pretty good chance to make the team.
That was at Motlow State Community College in Tennessee. Fernando Martinez leads it off for the Astros and moves back from ball 1. This is his first trip to the plate today. Made a nice catch to end the top of the inning.
He's been swinging it. Last couple weeks, he's been one of the hotter hitters on the Astros club.
The ball just jumps off his bat when he makes solid contact, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's really strong. Reminds me of Carlos Delgado when he does make contact. Just tremendous pull power. One of those guys, 6 or 7 guys on the Astros who are out of options. So the Astros did try to send him out. He'd have to clear waivers first. CJ, don't call me Chucky Fick, warming up down in the bullpen.
Deep drive to left center field. PA heads back. The left fielder is there to make the catch. That's out number 1. As Lambo goes back to make the play. Brian Morris had Tommy John surgery in 07. He's come back to pitch effectively in 5 games for the Pirates last year. Was in Indianapolis most of the season, where he had a 2.67 ERA. He was a first-round pick by the Dodgers in 06. Jonathan Villar bounces one slowly to third base. And that's out number 2.
Astros have gone 1-2-3 today, and 4 of the 7 innings so far. First 2 guys retired so far this inning. It's going to be up to Altuve to buck that trend.
Follow the Astros this spring and all season long with MLB.com at bat for your iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch, and Android devices. At Bat delivers spring training wherever you are with scores, stats, searchable video, live audio, and more. Text at bat to 31826 or visit Astros.com for details. Sparky's been sampling that himself.
Got it and love it.
Altuve probably gets the night off tomorrow night. There's ball 1. So he is up for the 4th time in this game. He has a single and a sac bunt. The Astros play a night game tomorrow night on the road against Washington. And shucks, he'll miss Steven Strasburg tomorrow night.
Bo Porter saying that there's going to be a few of the guys on his team that are going to stay back. And we mentioned Carlos Correa, Jonathan Singleton, Domingo Santana. A lot of guys from the minor league side are going to make that trip, and that's a thrill for those guys, Bill, just to go play in those big league games, and even to face a guy like Strasburg is a big thrill for them.
That's true. Well, just imagine if they come up with a hit do something good against Strasburg. That'll be something for them to take out of this spring on a very positive note.
Go to minor league camps, tell them you own Strasburg.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Yeah.
Ask guys if there's another league higher than the big leagues for you.
That's part of the fun of it for those guys. The expectations are not very high. If you strike out against Strasburg, no big deal, right?
You still put all the importance on it, though. You want to prove, you know, it's inevitable you're going to try to do too much, but you want to prove to people who have never seen you that you belong in this atmosphere. They're very talented guys when you talk about all 3 of those. So I'm anxious to see them play, as you are, and I know you're going to go on that trip even though you're not televising.
Doesn't matter. Big chop to third base, and there's a nice play. And Getter comes up with it to end a 1-2-3 8th inning. 3-0 Pittsburgh. Nothing ball game. The Pirates lead it, and they have really thrown the ball well today, Sparky.
Astros pitchers looking real sharp. We'll start with Brad Peacock. After 3 shutty against the Phillies, he comes back with explosive fastballs here up in the zone against the Pirates. Got a nasty hook as well, but he can blow that fastball by you. He touches 96, 97 miles per hour. There was Uncle Charlie paying a visit. And he looked really good today, throwing 5 innings, giving up 1 run with 4 punchies. Chapman, look at those nasty sliders, neutralizing good left-handed hitters, Pedro Alvarez, etc. with the Pirates. Now look at Brad Peacock today, 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 walk, and 4 punch-outs. Now right in that mix to be the 5th starter for the Astros.
Now C.J. Fick is on the mound. Josh Harrison, the batter. It's 3-0 Pirates as they come up in the 9th inning. Harrison went into pinch run and scored in the 7th inning. Harrison, one of those versatile players on the Pirate out in a variety of ways. Those are the numbers for C.J. Fick.
Fick's done a nice job this spring. He learned to cut fastball this offseason and has been incorporating that pitch into his repertoire. Has been very fancy on the mound for the Astros.
Harrison shows bunt. That's a strike.
See now with 2 strikes, Jose Martinez, the third baseman for the Astros, backs way back to give himself plenty of range.
Fick dropping down on that one.
Good movement on that 2-seam fastball. I don't know how Harrison laid off of that one. That was a strike for a long time.
Harrison rips 1 foul. Harrison saw a lot of playing time last year for the Buccos. Hit 233 and 249 at bats. He's from Cincinnati. Went to the University of Cincinnati. He shoots a line drive to center. Grossman picks it up. Harrison on with a leadoff 9th inning single.
There's 2 knocks now for my fault. Josh Harrison pinch ran for Garrett Jones in the 7th inning. That spot in the order has 3 hits now in this baseball game. Nothing fancy on that one. Vic tried to drop down and get more movement on that sinker. Stayed up just a little bit for Harrison.
Now it's Mel Rojas Jr. First time up today. Playing in the outfield. His father, a longtime major league relief pitcher for the Expos for a while. There's strike 1. So we've had a couple of sons of established major leaguers in the lineup today. Ivan De Jesus Jr. started at second for the Pirates.
We've seen Delino DeShields Jr. in camp with the Astros, probably a teammate of Mel Rojas's father.
Rojas was good for a long time.
He really was.
Bouncer, there's a good play by Laird. He throws, and the tag not in time by VR. He got the out at first and then got rid of the ball quickly, but the throw not quite there on line to make that tag. Harrison had a chance to get in.
Pretty good athletic play by Brandon Laird. He was shuffling off the bag that time and showed a little hops that time. Got off a throw pretty quickly after getting that first out at first base. Good idea. As soon as those guys throw that baseball down to second after touching first base, they're always yelling tag, tag, just to remind the infielder that the force is off.
Now it's Matt Curry batting. Curry grounds one to the right side. Laird handling a much easier play this time for out number 2 with Harrison taking third base.
That's the value of Brandon Laird coming off your bench. He can play multiple positions on the infield and looks really comfortable at first base today. Stays down on the baseball real well.
Going back to that play, that was about the only way he could do it, right? That the previous play, the ball was in the air so long, he couldn't presume that he would get the force out at second, right?
Yeah,
so
plus his momentum's taking him away from second base, so I think the natural inclination was just to tag the bag first.
Sure. Now in Gepe, and he took that pitch for ball 1. South African native.
Doesn't look in awe of the situation. Looks very calm at home plate, like he's adjusted real well to baseball in the United States.
It's got to be a feeling that's quite a challenging feeling for somebody from that nation of South Africa.
Yeah.
Just the scarcity of talent that we've seen reach this level of baseball. He hasn't had much company. So he's had to quickly get into the American mindset of competing in this country, hasn't he?
Yeah, and just the competition, like you're saying, is who's he faced before with these good arms and this good at breaking stuff and command? It's all new.
Chop to third, backhand play, and Martinez is able to get the handle on it and get him. Good recovery, no runs, a hit, and a man left. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning, 3-0 Pirates. hope you've been enjoying it today, and we hope you see a little action here in the bottom of the ninth inning. The Pirates lead the Astros 3-0. Bill Brown along with Steve Sparks on Comcast Sportsnet in Houston, another of our 10 spring training telecasts. The Astros looking to stir up things here in the bottom of the ninth inning after being handcuffed all day on just 2 hits so far, and both have been singles. One of those an infield hit.
Is a good guy to lead things off for the Astros. Robbie Grossman has been in center field now for the last 2 or 3 innings, and this is a guy who figures out a way to get on base no matter what. Really scrappy player that the Astros got in that Wandy deal last July.
From Cy-Fair High School in Northwest Houston. Grossman takes the first pitch, as he frequently does, and it's ball 1 to Robbie.
This guy reminds me a little bit of Lenny Dykstra, Bill. Gets in that crouch.
He does.
Makes the guy throw strikes.
Does that make a difference to you as a pitcher when a hitter goes into a crouch that pronounced as far as presenting the strike zone to you?
I think you know when you're not going well, when you notice things like that. When you're going well, all you see is the glove.
Now Grossman works the count his way at 3 balls, no strikes. You saw the .316 average for Robbie Grossman. 6 hits and 19 at-bats, 4 runs batted in. .435 on base average for the spring. He takes that one, and it's 3-1, and that is his specialty, working deep counts and getting on base.
Yes, he's done that his entire minor league career. He's got on base a ton, and he figures out a way to get on base, and he's a great base runner once he gets there.
That's a strike. He was ready to head for first, but it's 3-2. Robbie was born in San Diego, but lives in Cypress, Texas now. He came in that Wandy Rodriguez deal from Pittsburgh, along with lefty Colton Kane and lefty Rudy Owens. And he takes a walk. He has a career .379 on base average in the minor leagues in 511 games. 2013 is a whole new ball game for the Houston Astros. Season tickets are available now. To learn about all the exclusive benefits and pricing, or to get your season tickets, you can do that today. Call 1-800-ASTROS-2 or visit astros.com. Lead-off walk. The Astros down by 3. Jason Jaramillo's the batter. He struck out in the 6th inning. That was his first time to the plate today.
Astros looking for another base runner so they can get the tying run to the plate here in the 9th inning. They've done a good job of that all spring, scratching and clawing when they've fallen behind and have a chance late.
Here's strike 1 from Brian Morris. Morris had a 1-2-3 8th inning, trying to close it out here. Jonathan Sanchez, who was the starting pitcher, had an ERA of 11.81 when he took the mound today. He could be the winning pitcher. Would certainly boost his chances. Slow bouncer to first base, and that's a foul ball. No balls, 2 strikes.
Got left-handed pitcher Wes Music warming up down in the bullpen for the Astros, over from the minor leagues today.
Haven't heard that name all spring.
No, it's a good opportunity for Wes. Astros, for some reason, tied this baseball game up. Wes will be in there. And he's hoping exactly that. He would love an opportunity to get in there and face a few big leaguers.
What a thrill.
Yep.
One and two. If you're in minor league camp, you get the call to come up in a situation like this. How much notice do you get? A few hours that you're going to be?
Sometimes the day before, sometimes that morning.
Okay.
But when you do, I mean, it's just absolute elation. Number one, you get big league meal money that day, which is about quadruple what you get over there with that slop in the minors.
Broken bat roller to third, and there's the out at first. Out number 1. Getter played it. He took his time with it.
But then it's just fun just to sit down there in the bullpen, you know, if you're a pitcher and sit there next to a guy that you've watched on TV or looked up to, or you can pick up some things. You got Dennis Martinez, number 37 down there, as your pitching coach. That's El Presidente. I mean, you can't get fired up to have him watch you and critique you and learn something from him. You're not breathing.
That's right. Jimmy Paredes is the batter. Switch hitting former infielder has been moved to the outfield, which he played last year for the Astros after being an infielder the year before. Played some good third base a couple of years ago when he came up with the Astros.
He did. Showed good feet, good hands, good arm, really good arm. He shows that off in the outfield now.
125. He has 3 hits in 24 at-bats. So he could use something positive here. It's a 2-ball, no strike count to Jimmy. He's from the Dominican Republic.
Bo Porter just touched his chin right there when Paredes looked over, and see if that's a green light or a red light. Astros trail by 3 here. Need another base runner to make it interesting.
Brandon Laird on deck. Paredes looks at another close one, and it's 3-0 for Jimmy. He's 24 years old. With Oklahoma City, he had good numbers. With the Astros, 189 for 74 at-bats last year. The year before, though, 2011, he hit 286 with the Astros for 168 at-bats. It's 3-1. Somebody just yelled out to one of the players, "You play ball like a girl."
That was my wife.
Okay.
She was talking to me. She used to always do that when I played, too.
Interesting what you pick up in the stands here.
That's a line from Sandlot.
Off the mid of the catcher, and that's ball 4. Now the potential tying run comes up.
Now we're talking.
Pirates do have some bullpen action as Brandon Laird walks up to the plate. This will be his 4th at bat. Nick Leyva, one of the Pirate coaches, is positioning his first baseman over more toward the line.
See Bo Porter, he'll give the signals over to Dave Tremblay, third base coach. He'll have signs as Craig Biggio sits to his right.
Clint Hurdle is coming out. He has a right-hander getting loose in the bullpen.
That'll be Brooks Brown, big righty. He's got a little bit more experience. And you see Brandon Laird really put some good wood to a lot of pitchers. There's Brooks Brown warming up. He's pitched last year in Toledo AAA with the Detroit Tigers, with the University of Georgia. They're talking to Chris LaRue right now, big 6'6" right-hander who's walked a couple guys down here in the 9th inning. Last thing you want to do with a 3-run lead.
So Hurdle, his club, has been sparkling on the mound today. Takes that walk back. There have been 2 bases on balls here by Brian Morris this inning. And now Laird, who's 0 for 3 with 2 fly balls and a ground out today, comes up representing the potential tying run. Martinez on deck. That's Jose Martinez. The Astros have had some late inning heroics this spring, and they have done well in terms of fighting from behind in several of their games. The wind is blowing in a little bit over toward the left field corner, actually. Well, it might be. It's kind of turning around, looks like. Sparky might be headed out toward the left field line now.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, that could help build this scenario for Brandon Laird. This one would allow the runners to move up as it's off the mitt of the catcher May. So now that could be a big development, because with 1 out, they don't have the ground ball double play situation presenting itself anymore.
Huge play that time. Grossman getting a good jump, which is kind of easy when you're the lead runner when you see the ball get away. But as the trail runner, Paredes, he has to make sure the guy in front of him goes too. Check out Paredes on first base. Make sure Grossman goes before he advances to second base. Brandon Laird, we've seen on multiple occasions this spring hit good pitching, and not a lot of guys can do that. We saw a big-time base hit off Craig Kimbrell of the Braves, and he's done it continually this spring.
On a 2-0 pitch, he had a cut and fouled it back.
Doesn't get overwhelmed by the situation or try to jump out toward guys with good stuff. And LaRue has good stuff. He's got a good heater. Laird slows it down by keeping his head real steady. Eduardo Perez calls one of his guys on the bench over. Might have a pinch run situation. Marwin Gonzalez may pinch run for Brandon Laird should he get on.
Makes sense. Grossman's the runner at third. Paredes at second. They both run very well. Laird had 35 at-bats with the Astros last year. They claimed him on waivers from the Yankees. Time call. Brandon's from Cypress, California, younger brother of Gerald Laird.
It's a great pickup, and they've got guys designated just to watch the waiver wire of other teams, and couldn't pass up Brandon Laird.
He's had 2 20 home run seasons in the minors, 4 75 RBI years. Good cut there, and he fouls it back. He's just a guy the Astros feel very confident having at the plate in situations like this. So it wouldn't be at all surprising to see him make that opening day roster and be available for pinch hit situations. This is not one here, but if there should be one in the late innings.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't offer it pitches outside of the strike zone very often. He's not overwhelmed by stuff and velocity, so I think this is a great candidate for the bench.
Strikeout now, and Brian Morris takes care of out number 2. That's his first strikeout in the day.
Way to jinx him, Browning.
Yeah, for sure.
Good job.
Jose Martinez will be the batter. Jose grounded out in the 7th inning, and now Clint Hurdle may want to make a change. Well, he's had that more experienced right-hander, Brooks Brown, you talked about, warming up, and that's a total of 7 batters faced by Brian Morris, so that's all he's going to ask of him. And he will go to the bullpen, and this will be a save situation when we come back with the score. Pittsburgh 3, Houston 0. It's Brooks Brown coming in with runners at second and third for the Astros, who are batting here in the bottom of the 9th with 2 outs. And Jose Martinez will be the batter, as Brown, who has 2 saves this spring, comes in to take a shot at number 3.
Brooks Brown, we talked about University of Georgia product. He's got a 2-seam fastball in the low 90s. Projects as a middle relief pitcher. He's got a good slider. It's kind of a swing and miss pitch. But if he makes this team, most likely will be a middle reliever, and Clint Hurdle wants to see what this guy can do with a little pressure.
Well, he's got a little on him as Martinez comes around for the second time in this game. Rene Garcia is on deck, the catcher. And the first pitch is strike one for Brooks Brown, who's from Statesboro, Georgia. Arizona took him as a sandwich pick in the draft between the first and second rounds in 06. Traded him to Detroit. Pittsburgh signing him as a free agent. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count for Brooks Brown.
Corner infielders playing down the line want to make sure this tying run doesn't get into scoring position. First base and third base hugging the lines.
Strike there makes it 1-2 with Josh Zeid warming up in the Astros pen.
There's Josh. He's done a nice job for Bo Porter this spring. He's been the guy that they've had to get up quickly on multiple occasions to put out the fire.
This one is going to be a foul ball. Boy, that looked like it was flirting with the third base line. And then it took a left turn. Gettert coming in, but he just watched the spin take that one foul.
Check out this second hop right here. I think it hits the lip of the grass and kicks hard left.
Sure did.
Good job that time. Good decision to let that baseball go. No play would have been made on a pretty speedy Jose Martinez. We mentioned they're playing the line on the corners, and they're also playing back pretty far. So that short swinging bunt type of hit has no chance of getting the runner.
Martinez shoots a line drive into left center. That'll score a couple to make it 3-2. He takes the turn and holds on with a 2-run single. And the Astros now trail by 1.
Seen Martinez do this a lot of times in the last 10 days. He's gotten a lot of hits and picks on that Brooks Brown fastball. Didn't get a lot of sink on that pitch. Just ran in on his hands, and he just drew his hands inward right there to get the barrel on the ball and lifted it out into left center field. Hit the ball right on the nose. Best you could have done with that pitch, and nice job of hitting by Jose Martinez.
Down to their final strike. The Astros gain some life, and here's Rene Garcia batting now. He's 2 for 8 in spring training. And you talked about Martinez now with decent speed. Would they think about having him run? He's 1 for 1 in steals this spring. Down to their final out. That would be a bit of daring with the 23-year-old catcher batting. Ooh, ball 1.
I think they're going to make Brooks Brown get to 2 strikes before they'd probably take a chance and try to steal a bag right here. Right now, just want to keep the line moving. Got a little momentum on your side. See if they can get Brooks Brown to get rattled here and maybe throw a pitch in the dirt and get a guy over into scoring position.
Nobody warming up for the Buccos. Garcia takes, and it's ball 2. Rene, 23 years old, from Puerto Rico, 35th round draft choice of the Astros in 08. Played most of last year at Class A at Lancaster, where he hit .279 with no homers, 22 runs batted in, and 215 at bats. Had a little time at AA Corpus Christi. As Sparky said, has a good defensive reputation. 2-1. This is his third spring training invitation for the Astros, so he's been on the horizon as a good defensive stalwart for them for a few years now.
Pretty sure they believe he can catch in the big leagues right now. It's just a matter of hitting a little bit. I think they'd feel comfortable with him as a backup right away, though.
3-1. Catching position seems to be nailed down for the Astros. Of course, a lot of things do change when you think they won't, but Jason Castro and Carlos Corporan both have had solid springs. Chopper up the middle, and the toss to second for the Force to end it. Looked like it might sneak through into center field, but the Astros fall to the Pirates 3-2. They come up with 2 runs on a hit with no errors and leave a man. And a final score here today was the Pirates 3 and the Astros 2.
Didn't know Ngembe could move like that.